Good morning. Is this working? Let me listen to myself awkwardly for a second. Good morning. All right, it's working. Sounds good. I have to check it every time. I was going to do this off stream as usual, but I figured why not turn it on, hang out with a few of you this Sunday. I'm going to stick with Skypark. I've been having a really good time using Skypark the last few streams, so I'm going to stick with it today just to give me some variety in what I'm flying. I am prepping to do an RNAV video because there's been a few questions about RNAV stuff, not only in comments on my few videos that I have up, but also I've noticed people asking about RNAV on the Microsoft forums and on the Microsoft Flight Sim forums, and also on the subreddit for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And yeah, RNAV, as far as approaches, RNAV approaches, there's basically an ILS equivalent approach that does work correctly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you get vertical guidance just similarly to how you do an ILS. So those do work, which is great. But I think where people get confused is when they're flying an RNAV approach that happens to be a VNAV approach. So vertical guidance, those do not work in Microsoft Flight Sim. So it can get a little confusing for people, and me too, when I fly an RNAV approach and I'm like, oh man, where's my vertical guidance? And there just happens to be no vertical guidance for that particular RNAV approach. All right, I'm gonna go find a contract really quickly here. Something they introduced last time that I didn't fly. If I go to the updates here under software updates. So last Tuesday they did this base camp supply run, and I think this is a series of flights taking a bunch of cargo from places nearby to Crystal Lakes to this Crystal Lakes airfield in Colorado. So you can search hashtag base camp, I guess, to get going. I think the hashtags are a little weird that you search a hashtag, but that's how it works right now. So you go up here, base camp. So yeah, there's this series of flights to go to this Crystal Lakes airfield, 25 Charlie Oscar. So you can see all these different legs you fly. And I'm not sure if you can start at one, like can I start over here, pick up the cargo, fly to this one, pick up more cargo, and then fly to the destination. That might be doable. I know you can do that in games like, or add-ons like On Air, you can do multi-leg ones. And I just don't know if there are multi-leg cargo missions in Skypark or not. I know there are multi-leg experiences and tours, they call them. They're more of like sightseeing trips than cargo missions, but I think we should give that a shot to start and see how it goes. And I think all of these are made for piston. Okay, it says piston. Oh, they recommend turboprop. Okay, we could do the... Do I want to do the TBM? Let's take a look at the runway here, where we're landing. Unlit grass runway that's 4,000 feet long. And they recommend turboprops. So I feel like with the Cessna Grand Caravan, the landing speed's a little bit lower than the TBM, so that would be probably a little easier to land. But everyone loves the TBM, right? Pick up gold. Gold tanning lotion, fruit, jams, jellies, and marmalades. Base camp supply run. I think we should give this a shot. 03 November Echo to 25 Charlie Oscar. I already forgot it. 03 November Echo. Hyde Ranch. So this is only a 2,000 foot grass runway though for takeoff. So I'm not sure how the TBM is going to do there. And then our destination 25 Charlie Oscar. Crystal Lakes. And there's a 4,000 foot runway. 2 hours and 14 minutes. No wonder they want us to do the turboprop. This is deceptively long. Oh, it's from Nebraska. That's why we're crossing an entire state to get there. So if we do the TBM, let's take a look at the... Oh, what happened to my other liveries? Huh. That's weird. I thought the TBM had like 3 or 4 liveries, but I only see... It's weird, I only see 3. Thought I had like 6. All right, so it's still an hour to get there though. That's gonna be really boring to watch one leg for an hour. So I'm gonna do one of the shorter legs just to see what this airfield looks like. All right, 5 Charlie 08. 5C08. That is not in the database. That's weird. Oh, maybe it's Charlie Oscar 8. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, to Crystal Lake. This is only 18 minutes, so here we go. Now we can do... Let's do the Grand Caravan. I don't know what happened to the liveries here. 208B. Oh, 208 Space B. And I'm curious. Okay, this one has all the liveries, so maybe I messed something up. I did install a few more liveries for the Airbus and for the 787 just to give variety when I see other aircraft on the ground. So maybe that's messed with the TBM liveries for some reason. Okay, and I'm using live weather, all players on US West. So it looks like we are in some IFR conditions. We'll see what it looks like when we load in. I'm gonna load in at the ramp this time. Okay, and it's only 23 miles with no suggested IFR routes, so we just are direct. All right, so let's do this one here. Oh, it says turboprop feasible. Piston recommended. Whoops. crystallakes.org. Is this actually, I'm just gonna open this up really quickly. Oh, this actually is the official site for that area. Crystal Lakes Road and Recreation Association. That's cool. And again, they have a Spotify playlist, which is cool. I noticed they've been adding this to these, or maybe it's the first time I noticed them last week. But they give you a playlist to play. I think these are copyrighted songs, so I'm not gonna play it. And then yeah, that's it. We get so it gives us some history on Crystal Lakes, 7,000 square foot community center known as Base Camp, and they need supply runs to keep it stocked. Okay, so I'm gonna save and hit begin. And we weren't really close to that. You can see we have $90 fee. That's fine, I'm just gonna pay it.
Hey pilot peeps, listen up. I have an opportunity for you. Crystal Lakes Airport is a privately owned airstrip in Colorado, surrounded by the Roosevelt National Forest's natural beauty. Nearby Crystal Lakes is a charming and relaxed mountain village and recreational community. The centerpiece of Crystal Lakes is a 6,900 square foot community center known as Base Camp. Weekly supply runs are needed to keep Base Camp and other small shops stocked up in town. Enjoy some tunes on the way in, and trust me, a little Phil Collins will make any trip that much better.
So this is probably the first time that of the missions I've done on stream where there's like a intro, like a voice intro to it, and they do have that on some of the more like featured missions. They have like intros like that, which is pretty unique for Skypark. Other ones, other career add-ons don't have that level of I don't want to call it quality, but it's just different, you know. It's something unique about it. So all right, we're gonna load all this stuff. Just gonna hit load. This is a short flight, so we're just going, looks like 63 miles to Crystal Lake. So we've picked all this stuff up. We're going to 25 Charlie Oscar. All right, and then I'm gonna use the assisted checklist to get this started as always. Fuel selectors on both. Prop RPMs at max, power levels at idle. And if you've never used these assisted checklists, I know I point this out every time, but up here in the AI control menu, you can enable checklist assist. Oh, and that actually reminds me that I need to change my assistant settings to true to life. I had it on middle ground for some videos I was working on. But the few things I change in here are, yeah, assisted checklist. I use that, obviously. ATC to AI, I usually turn that on. Those are both in that top menu that I just showed. And then for navigation, I usually turn on the taxi ribbon. We're not going to need it really for this flight, but I usually have that on too.
TOS system test. Okay.
And then, yeah, those two that I just turn on, checklist assist and radio comms, those are really conveniently accessible up here in this AI control menu. So you can always get up there to turn those on. Control aircraft, I've tried that before. Like if I just was testing something really quickly and I didn't want to do everything, it's a little iffy. It's a little scary having the AI control the aircraft. It doesn't work very well from what I've seen. All right, before takeoff. All right, I'm turning the parking brake back on, and those are all the checklists we have for the Grand Caravan. There's nothing after the before takeoff checklist. Just to review our speeds down here, we have our rotation at 70, our best climb at 95, and then I'm going to change our CDI over to GPS. And our flight plan is just programmed direct to 25 Charlie Oscar. That's Crystal Lakes. And zoom out here. Then I just hit B on my keyboard really quickly to set our altimeter, so our altitude is accurate. And then for some reason in this plane, it always turns on. Oh, it doesn't this time. If you start on the runway, the wing light is always turned on by default, so I usually turn that off. I have our landing lights and nav lights on. And why isn't the... Oh, that's weird. It didn't actually start the engine because the fuel conditioner was set to off. So I'm going to reset these pages and just do these really quickly again. All right, and then once we get there, we have, so the elevation of Crystal Lakes is 8,400 feet, 4,000 foot-ish grass runway heading 07 and 25. All right, so we're actually booted up here. Is that a... Looked like a street racing car or something. Okay, and then before takeoff, strobe is on. That stuff's done already. So a mod that I turned on this week that I've been playing with, you might notice these trees are a lot more detailed, and I linked this in the description. I saw a lot of really good reviews for this mod called Four Seasons, and you guys who are more veteran flight simmers than I probably recognize that name because this mod has been in other sims for a while, I think. So it's in X-Plane, and I'm pretty sure it's in Prepared as well. But it's in Microsoft Flight Sim now. It's not part of the Microsoft marketplace built in, so it is a third-party site you have to go to, but it's pretty awesome, the variety in trees. And it comes with, as the name would suggest, 4 different seasons of trees you can install. So I just have installed the summer set because it's just about summertime. But there is one for each season, so it's pretty cool. Just add some variety. Like the default trees in Microsoft Flight Sim, as you guys probably know, are just very repetitive looking. So all these different like shades of trees and different types of trees are awesome. And it looks like the person that made it is actually updating it pretty often. And like they added like wildflowers and parts of Africa and stuff like that, like really well-known landmark for, you know, for trees and flowers. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. I haven't explored all that yet, but anyway, we should get taking off. I did not set autopilot yet. What's going on here with my brakes? Hey Syed, what's up? All right, I've turned my parking brake off 3 times now. We're in dirt, so it's taking a while to get moving. Is it turning my parking brake off? What's going on here? Parking brake? This is weird that, like, this isn't... What? Oh, right, my hardware. Oh my God. I'm using the Bravo quadrant again today. I didn't use it last stream, and I forgot that I set a switch for my parking brake, so that was turned on. All right, and this is not our runway, right? Where is the runway here? Let's zoom in. I mean, if this is the runway, I don't know why there are cars on it. This is definitely not the runway. All right, step one, we need to find the runway. All right, I'm guessing it's more towards this way, and we don't really have a taxi diagram to go off of. Let's just do a little literal Sunday drive here and figure out where the runway is. All right. I mean, some of these roads are so long and straight, like this one coming up, that seems like it could be the runway. I see I have that little nav aid there taking me to the runway. So this looks to be the right direction. Can you do a mobile flight sim review? Oh, you mean like X-Plane for iPad? Oh, looks like I went the wrong way. All right, we're gonna go off-roading. I have tried X-Plane for iPad very briefly, and it was pretty impressive actually. Forklifts and buses in the middle of runways. Yeah, I have the there's an add-on in the marketplace for like, there's two different ones. One's for Europe, one's for America, or for the US, and it adds different vehicles. Hey Amir, you're here to type again? Sounds good. I appreciate the chatter. It makes it less lonely. All right, let me, I'm just gonna off-road it over here to where the runway entrance is. I haven't taken off from this airport or airfield, whichever you prefer, before, so I'm not familiar with it. Thankfully, the Grand Caravan is a beast. It's okay to off-road in this thing. All right, there's the taxiway ribbon, very helpful. Okay, so is this the runway? This is where it says the start of the runway is, so I guess this is the runway.
Mike Charlie Oscar, 8 traffic
Yep,
Cessna
there goes the
November,
ATC.
1 Kilo India Papa taking off runway 8 departure to the east.
All right, so let's check our flaps. I don't think they're set. Okay, flaps set to takeoff. Dude, this is so, oh man. So this is one of the reasons I've actually not been using the Bravo throttle quadrant. Right now, I know you can't see this because I don't have a webcam, but I have both my RPM, my prop RPM and my fuel condition levers are maxed out. They're both at 100% on the throttle quadrant. I'm gonna wiggle the one on the right. It's at 100%. Oh, what the? It's reversed. It's still a separate issue that I have it reversed, but you notice that it was here instead of the position it actually was in. I've been having that issue, and I'm not sure why. So if I go here to the quadrant, and then I'll scroll down and find that axis. So this needs to be reversed for one, but for some reason it's not always. So then let me save the apply and save. It's not always in the position I set it to. It'll like default back to this middle 50% position, no matter where I have the actual lever. Okay, and that might be another reason. So I noticed too that the range, it's only using about half the range. So it's probably using 100%. Okay, so this mixture 0 to 100%. It may need to be using the one that is the negative 100 to 100. I don't know. I don't like it. All right, mixture. So you see they have these two different ones. Mixture axis negative 100 to 100 or 0 to 100. And 0 to 100 should be right for this one. I'll give it a try on the other one, but I think I had it set correctly. So joystick R, axis Z, and reverse. But I have been having a problem. Okay, this is working correctly now. So when I move the actual hardware lever, I have to move the full range for it to also map to the full range here. So this is correct. And then I'm going to test the prop. Yeah, the prop is good as well. And then the throttle. Okay, the throttle is also good. All right, so that seems better. We'll see what happens, but yeah, the Bravo throttle quadrant hardware is great. I've just noticed that here and there, though, these will just, even though I have the levers at 100%, these will all of a sudden just be set to 50%. And we're moving. All right. And our engine's off because I was messing with the, because I pulled the thing back. I turned the engine off because I put the fuel condition to 0. So let's restart. This is going swimmingly so far. So this week, if you guys don't know, on Thursday, Sim update number 4 is coming out. So I'm really excited for Thursday. Part of that, they're supposed to have improvements to air traffic control, the way that they say things over air traffic control. And then they're making their first of several rounds of improvements. Several rounds of improvements for the avionics. So that should affect the Garmin G1000, 530, 430, G3000. It's hard to say exactly what it'll affect, but basically they all seem to be tied together anyway. Does the cartoon look like you? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. My hair's a little shorter on the sides. I think I look a little happier in that photo. Like, I don't have this grin on my face permanently, so. All right, let's find where the, I don't even know where the runway is now. We're just going randomly in this grass field. I mean, we could just take off anywhere if we just find a good amount of grass. Man, did we go all the way down this hill? Where's the airport? We just rolled all the way down this hill. All right, we're just gonna go bush style and make our own runway. Okay, here's that car up here. So this is where the actual runway is. Somewhere up in this area. I believe it's this grass strip right here. What plane? This is the Cessna 208B Grand Caravan. So this mission recommended a turboprop instead of a piston. So we're using this one for this mission, but I'll change it up here and there, mattering what mission we fly. And I'm just taking a look at, I'm using this app called the Skypark, and we're doing this mission called the Base Camp Supply Run. So I'm just doing one of these short legs to go check out this Crystal Lakes airport that they're kind of featuring. All right, so I'm going full throttle, holding the brakes. Give it a hot rod start. All right, we need 75 knots. $60, 65. There's 75. All right, flaps coming up. Trimming. So I'm gonna spend a unusual amount of time staring at trees this time because I installed that Four Seasons mod that I was talking about. So I'm pretty excited to try it out. I mean, I can just tell already, like, I know it does something with the level of detail, like the view distance on the trees. So it's pretty awesome. Oh, the old caravans are ugly. They have this weird bottom section to them, right? Like this bottom like cargo area. It's kind of funny looking compared to something that's like so much more sleek looking, like the you know, the TBM or something like that. All right, so I'm pitching up for our best climb in this is about 95 knots. All right, our altimeter is good, 2996.
Copy Cessna, Kilo, India Papa.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but just the detail in the trees is so much better with this mod. It's awesome. I've only flown a couple of flights with it when I installed it last week, but I think it's really cool. I have it in the description if you're curious, but it is a paid mod. It's like 24 US dollars, like 1995 euros. But it's pretty cool. I don't know if Microsoft has or Asobo have plans to change the trees at all, but it's pretty cool. It's called Four Seasons, and I put a link in the description. But it is paid though, so it is around 25 US dollars. But it's pretty cool. It adds a lot of variety to the trees, and it comes with 4 different seasons. Just like the name implies, but you have 1 folder per season. So I chose the summer folder just because it's about to be officially summertime. But yeah, so you get 1 per season. You get to choose whichever one you want to install. You just drag one of the folders into your community folder. But it's pretty awesome. I don't know, just even the different colors of trees, how they're not all one color and one shape. I think there's a good like 2 or 3 dozen of types of trees, of unique types of trees, so it's pretty cool. And then I know I was reading through the description, and apparently there's different areas that the dev has focused on for like wildflower fields and stuff like that, like in parts of Africa. It's pretty neat, and the dev seems to update it pretty often. Oh, for VFR. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's pretty nice. What's cool is if you go to the page, he does a good job of showing before and afters. There's a whole video he made. There's a bunch of before and after screenshots showing the same exact areas before and after the mod. It's really impressive. Waypoint 542 Denver Center, continue as planned. And I didn't realize that that mod already existed for X-Plane. But I use X-Plane here and there, so I might have to get it for X-Plane too. I don't know. I tend to open X-Plane just to look at some of the Garmin things and compare them. And I know people love to compare X-Plane to Microsoft Flight Sim. And to be honest, I thought X-Plane was super far ahead when it came to IFR stuff, because that's mostly what people say is like X-Plane is better right now for IFR. And the avionics have some better capabilities, but something I noticed is that you can't even get air traffic control to have you follow like an instrument approach. Like when I do an ILS, like the X-Plane air traffic control doesn't even assign you an approach from what I can tell. It just says like, it'll give you vectors here and there, but it doesn't say like, hey, expect RNAV approach Yankee 03 via this transition. It doesn't even have that level of detail with air traffic control, so I was kind of surprised. Whereas in Microsoft Flight Sim, it actually assigns you an approach.
West 5351, contact Denver Center on 128.65.
I've mostly heard that the X-Plane flight model is better. There's some flight modeling stuff that they need to improve in Microsoft for sure. And then yeah, the avionics have a lot more capability in X-Plane, like using VNAV for example, and I think you can do holds and procedure turns as well. But I mean, it's only a matter of time before that's in Microsoft Flight Sim.
65 SkyWest 5351.
All right, we're in the red on our torque, so I'm pulling back the throttle just a little bit. You can get a lot of add-ons for X-Plane, including much better ATC. Yeah, I tried a few in X-Plane. I tried that live ATC chatter, which is pretty cool. It like pulls in live ATC. You know that site, live ATC. It pulls in clips from that and plays them, so you hear like other archived, like real voices on ATC, which is pretty cool. And then there's Pilot to ATC I've used, where you can, it has voice detection, so you actually need to do voice commands to use air traffic control. Actually be able to talk through their headset. Yes, so there are 3 major ones. The free one is called VATSIM, VATSIM. I'll just type it in. There's VATSIM, Pilot Edge, and what's the other one? There's a third one. VATSIM versus IVAO, I think it is. Yeah, IVAO. So those that I just typed in chat, those are the 3 main ones. VATSIM is free and it's community run, meaning all of the controllers in VATSIM, it's an add-on. You can do it in X-Plane, Prepare, Microsoft Flight Sim. You can use whatever sim you want, and you can talk to a, quote unquote real, you can talk to a human who's doing ATC for certain areas. So it's it adds a level of realism to flight sims that it is the most like impactful add-on you can do, is one of those. So VATSIM is all enthusiasts. Pilot, and it's free. VATSIM is free. Pilot Edge I actually used for several months, and it's basically the pro version. So there are fewer controllers, but they're all actual professional ATC. So everyone on Pilot Edge is a real professional air traffic controller, and in their free time they make money by being a controller for Pilot Edge network. Pilot Edge, I know VATSIM has some of this. They have some sort of training that you can do. I haven't used the training with VATSIM, but with Pilot Edge they have they have 2 full rating systems. So you basically get rated on certain flights. One of them is the CAT rating system. That's for just your like standard ATC communication rules. You fly some flights, you talk to ATC. Then they have the I ratings for instrument ratings, where you actually fly instrument ratings. And it's mostly based in the LA airspace because the Los Angeles airspace is extremely complicated. There's a lot of overlapping airspaces in LA, but they cover everything on kind of the west third of the United States. So you can fly from like Washington to Colorado to San Diego, pretty much the left 1/3 of the United States is covered. But they're all extremely professional because they are actually professional air traffic controllers. But anyway, they're all really cool. I learned quite a bit doing Pilot Edge. I almost did all of the CAT ratings to learn the basics of talking to air traffic control. It was super intimidating. I would get so nervous just hitting the button to talk to them. But I had a good time. I got a little bit used to it. I just did it for a month or 2 last year, and I had a good time. I think I want to give VATSIM a try at some point in the future. All right, so we're going, I'm just going to review the airstrip we're going to. So it's at 8,400 feet. So we tack on about 1,500 feet for a standard turboprop traffic pattern altitude. So we'll be around 10,000 when we get there. And then I'll fly over it because we need to find where this strip is. And the runway headings 07 and 25, so that's 070, 250. People mess around on VATSIM. I've watched some VATSIM streams of air traffic controllers on Twitch, and those guys are on it. They're really good as well. I don't know how much of a difference there is between, a Pilot Edge ATC versus a VATSIM ATC. I'm sure there's some variation because the ones on Pilot Edge are actually professionals. But I mean, I think it'd be hard to tell the difference when you look at some of the guys that are controllers on VATSIM. They also seem to be pro, like a pro level. So even if they aren't necessarily a real life air traffic controller. You got paid? I didn't get paid, but I paid for it. Yeah, I paid for Pilot Edge for a couple of months. I mean, it is the most. It was very easy to use. They have the tutorials for everything. They write out a whole script on each leg that you fly during the training. It's really cool. I like it. The quality was really high. So if you want to learn about air traffic control, like how to speak to ATC, I think it's a really good place to start, just because the kind of the training manual, you know, like the curriculum, if you will, is so comprehensive. It was really nice. I had a good time. I do want to try VATSIM again at some point. I know most people use and love VATSIM. All right, so I'm going to start descending a little bit here. We just go down to about 10,000 feet. I am not a pilot. I'm only a sim player. I ride the coattails of my partner, who is a pilot. She got her PPL in December, and I started playing the flight sim about a year ago. I started with X-Plane about a year ago to learn about flying because she was training. So I bug her all the time about flying. And I've been in the plane with her a couple times, but I haven't flown myself yet. I haven't taken a discovery flight or anything, so I'm just a gaming nerd at this point. So all my knowledge is just straight from reading, from talking to her, no real world experience on my end. So everything I know is not based on real flying experience. I'm sure some of you guys have real flight experience, which is awesome, and I know flying the sim is very different just because it's so unnatural to grab a mouse and a keyboard and stuff instead of touching dials. So that's where I think I can help a little bit, just because I'm, you know, on the gaming side pretty much, you know. All right, so I'm gonna slow down a bit more here. We're getting close-ish. I think we need to go over this mountain range first, actually, so I'm gonna putting the throttle on again, because we need to get over this spot. Actually, there's two mountain ranges here.
10% around 128.65.
128.65 for Cessna Kilo India Papa.
All right, so I'm gonna pitch up for 95 knots again.
10% for Cessna November 2.0.
You want to have flying lessons, but you're 14. I'm pretty sure it matters where you live, but I'm pretty sure, like in the United States, for example, you can fly. I'm pretty sure you can get your pilot's license when you're a teenager. I don't know exactly the age, but I think you can get it when you're under 18 years old in the United States. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the case. We're all gaming nerds, yeah. I guess we are on YouTube right now. All right, so I'm trying to pitch up for around 95 knots. I mean, we're like a cruise climb, so maybe I'll get more to like 120 or so. All right, they're changing our frequency. Co-pilots, our invisible co-pilots handling it. Oh, it's on hold. Yeah, it can be really expensive, mattering where you live. I live in California, and I know that here in Southern California, it's pretty expensive. If you live in a more rural area, it can be a lot more affordable to get your license than it is in a more metropolitan area in the States. Oh, you're in the UK? That's cool. Yeah, I don't really know about the price differences, but yeah, I mean, getting a pilot's license is not cheap from what I know. Something I forgot to look at here is in the info section, they have this highest obstacle right here. So I should have looked at that to remember that I needed to be over 11,000. All right, so we're gonna clear this, and then it looks like past that next mountain range over here, this area, after that is where the airport is. Or let's call it the airfield. And it is kind of in this mountainous area. I'm gonna turn this on. So probably want to fly around this, and the two runway headings, what was it, 09? 07 and 25. So we're on a heading of 042 right now, so a little bit to our right will be the runway heading 07. And if we look at the wind, it looks like in both directions we're likely going to have a crosswind. So we can see that we have a north facing wind right now, and both of our runway headings are more horizontal, you know, east to west on the runway headings. Oh no, wait, there's a 25. So actually 250 would be better. So 250, I don't know, it's still a crosswind, right? So yeah, it's a crosswind in either case. So I'm just gonna fly over it at 07 for the 07 runway first to see what it looks like, and then we'll figure out what we want to do after that. Missed out on a DLR test in what's a DLR test? In Hamburg when I was young, my pilot career ended there without a start. I mean, you know what they say, it's never too late, right? I guess for a pilot, like you do have the medical certificate you need, right? To maintain your, or is that only if you're a commercial pilot? I don't know too much about the requirements on the medical side for being current. I think that only applies to commercial pilots though, right? I'm guessing there are different levels of medical requirements, whether you're a private pilot or a commercial pilot, but you know who you're flying for if you're a commercial pilot. Commercial pilot test. Oh, DLR is the commercial pilot test. Do you still want to fly? I mean, I'm pretty nervous to be in an actual airplane, but it's mostly because I haven't flown myself, I think. You need a medical to fly solo in the UK. Got it. Also with general. Yeah. Gotcha. All right, I'm going to avoid these clouds here. And I don't know if you guys have the Honeycomb Bravo throttle, but I can't get the lights working on this thing. I've installed the plugin like 2 or 3 times. It worked one time, but not since then. It doesn't seem to automatically start the plugin. I have to do more troubleshooting, but that's one of the things that's really cool about this hardware is the lights. Like they have status lights, the gear lights. If you use the autopilot, the buttons have lights on them to let you know which autopilot mode you're in, which is pretty rad. You need a medical for PPL too. That makes sense. Of how you take everything so seriously. I try. I try really hard to learn whatever it is I want to actually talk about. Hey again, Lance, what's up, man? I'm very wary of saying anything that I don't know to be true, because you know, you guys that are real pilots and there are people that are aspiring pilots, like I want to stress that I am not a pilot. This is you know, this is an enthusiast thing, like a new thing for me as of the last year, and I really enjoy it. But I don't want to mislead anyone into thinking I'm an instructor or something, you know. I am far from it. But I do take it seriously. I'm really interested in it. I think I'm more interested in the systems, you know. Like I'm very drawn to all the technology around it. So I think autopilot and RNAV and GPS and WAS and approaches and all the procedures are super interesting. I think that stuff is so awesome, so I tend to learn a lot about that stuff. Whereas, you know, my like VFR flying could use a lot of work, as you guys could tell as you watch here and there. All right, so the grass strip is, we are getting close to it, so it's right over here somewhere. And we're actually almost on runway heading right now. Runway 070 is one of the runway headings, so just keeping my eyes out. It's supposed to be about a 4,500 foot grass strip that we're looking for, and we're pretty much on the runway heading right now. It'll be like a little to the left, it looks like. I think that might be it right there next to the lake. That strip right there. That looks right to me. I think that's it right over there near that lake, which would make sense because it's Crystal Lakes. Will I ever try to get my PPL? It's hard to say. I've only been simming less than a year. My girlfriend is going for her instrument rating. She's been working on that for a couple months now. And me, I haven't even taken a discovery flight yet, so I really don't know. I think it could happen if I fly with her more often and become a confident passenger. That is not the airstrip. Where is it? Everything looks like a runway right now. Zoom in down here on our map. Okay, it's right past the lake is where the strip is. It's this right here. That's got to be it, right? Not using any add-ons for clouds. So I'm using add-ons for the trees. I just put this on last week. It's called Four Seasons. I linked it in the description. Besides that, the clouds are stock. And I'm on high-end settings, but I turn the clouds and the terrain to ultra. So I'm in a hybrid between ultra and high-end. But I think that clouds is like the #1 most important thing to turn on ultra is clouds. They just look so awesome. All right, so that looks like the strip right here. And the airport elevation, I think is, what do we say, 7,800 feet or so? Yeah, the Four Seasons add-on that I put on recently, these trees, you see all the different shades of trees and different shapes of trees, has added a lot to the game. Like I saw people raving about this plugin. I tend to not want third-party plugins. I kind of always go for the ones that are in the Microsoft marketplace because I don't want them to I don't want to have to deal with updating them. I want the game to tell me there's an update for the plugins, but you know, I thought this one was worth it. Oh, I'm landing too late. Whoops. The grass strip starts right here.
25 Charlie Oscar traffic Cessna November.
It's fine. It's really long. We're going to land in the middle of it. I'm slipping a little bit.
Inbound to land runway 25.
I think the threshold is more back there, but this strip is really long. Oh, why are we tipping? Oh, crazy. All right, this is Crystal Lakes. I took a discovery flight in Maryland a few years ago. It was $100 on a Groupon, 30 minutes of ground instruction and 30 minutes of flight. That's cool. I've only been a passenger, but I was a passenger on my girlfriend's discovery flight. She did, I think it was like a couple years ago. Kind of butter. The landing was okay. The touchdown was okay, but that roll was a little weird. It could be a terrain thing. Like there's so many micro bumps on the ground. It was like tipping our right wing down a bit. All right, we're just gonna stop right here, put the parking brake on, and then drop off this first round. So now that we've, and this is the Skypark app. That's why the title of the stream is Skypark. This is like a third-party app that gives you missions, basically. You can deliver these things, and I'll probably do a little voice thing. We'll see what it says. Okay, she's not going to say anything. All right, $270. We're rich. Yeah, so that was one leg, and you can see there are multiple legs here. So the next, for this mission, you can see that it's all these different origins, and we need to fly from each origin to this strip that we just landed on. So some of these are further out. So like this one, for example, this leg, 288 nautical miles. I don't think that'll be very fun to watch on a stream. There's something like this might be cool though. And I haven't tried this yet with Skypark, but we could try starting from here, then going to this one and picking up more cargo, then over to this one and then in, you know, and do the logistics of this route from here to here to here, and then finally over to here. So I haven't done those kind of multi-leg cargo trips in Skypark yet, but that could be pretty cool. The thing is though, like, so let's see, this one is 262 miles, but we could plan, you know, going from here to here to here and then there. And it's like all hazy all of a sudden. All right. That car looks pretty funny. All right, putting flaps up. Yeah, it's kind of cool. There's just like this haze just came in here. You see that? For a second, I thought it might be like the dust coming up from the prop or something, but doesn't look like it. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the main menu because I'm not gonna fly back to these. I'm just gonna start a new flight from there. Yeah, Discovery Flight is pretty cool. Because I'm in the LA area, it was pretty crazy to do a Discovery Flight. Surprised it doesn't have retractable gear. I know. Every time I take off, I think about putting the gear up. The TBM does have retractable gear, but yeah, the Grand Caravan does not. And if you guys follow, I know a lot of guys that are in here watch, you know, watch different pilots on YouTube, and there's that Missionary Bush pilot guy who flies a Kodiak, which is, I think, the predecessor to the Grand Caravan, and it's also like that. It's a turboprop with a fixed gear as well. That one's pretty cool. That guy has some of the best content. His videos are awesome. Here, I should link to his channel really quickly. Just if you guys watch any of those, you probably know more of them than I do, but let me find his. He's a pilot that flies around he flies in Papua New Guinea. Yeah, I'll just put the link. That's his channel right there. He flies the Kodiak, which, yeah, is similar to the Grand Caravan. I think it's just an older model or something. Like the predecessor to the Grand Caravan. All right, I kind of want to fly the TBM. The TBM will be a little scarier, I think, to get into that airfield, but whatever. Could be funny. So let's go from KTQK, Scott City Municipal. So that's down here. And what I'm really curious about is, and I guess this will be a test run to see if we can pick up cargo at one airport, fly to a second airport and pick up cargo from a second airport. Oh, I don't think I can. Wait, because, so I have this flight in progress, right? So now if I wanted to pick up the other ones, I would need to go here. Begin. Load into this one to begin. So do I have two flights? Oh, I do have two flights going on. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Okay, nice. All right, this looks like it's gonna work. All right, so all these are green now. So we're gonna start with the one furthest out and then zigzag our way through and see if we can pick up all the cargo. Now, something else that Skypark does not do that some of the other ones do is cargo and fuel management. So it doesn't actually load the payload. It doesn't load the payload in, so it's not as realistic as some of the other add-ons where we couldn't say we have a payload of like 3,000 pounds or something that is our max capacity in the TBM or something like that. It's probably less than a TBM, but it would track how much cargo we picked up and how many passengers we picked up. And I think in Skypark, it doesn't, or I know for a fact, it doesn't track any of that as far as setting the weights and the balances in the plane itself. So I'm guessing we can just kind of pick up unlimited amount of cargo right now. So I'll just try that out. So we're gonna go to KSYF first, Cheyenne, and that's a 30-minute flight. I'm gonna see if there's an IFR, suggested IFR route, and there is. So we'll take the IFR route, and it looks like they have 2 RNAV approaches available. So I'm going to do IFR, especially because it says there's lightning. And let's do the TBM this time. What's nice about Skypark is you can change your plane whenever you want. Right now, they said that they're working on some stuff where you'll manage your fleet of aircraft. But right now, you can just pick whatever you want whenever you want. I'm going to start on the runway as well. What is my favorite all-time jet and a GA plane? Oh man, I barely fly the jets, but I like the CJ4 a lot. I like the CJ4 because it does not have auto throttle. I kind of like manually controlling the throttle, and I like the kind of airliner looking avionics in the CJ4. I don't really fly the airliners at all. The Longitude is really cool, but I almost feel like it's too modern. Like the G5000 that's in it, it feels almost like too modern. I like the like kind of old school looking aircraft FM, like avionics that are inside the CJ4. And then GA, I mean, I've mostly flown the Cessna 172, but for a smaller plane, I really like the Diamond. I like the DA40 NG. It has a G1000 in it. I think that's awesome. Actually, I think capabilities-wise, I like this. I like the Cirrus. I like the SR22. Sorry, that's my choice for GA is the SR22 because it has anti-icing system, a de-icing system in it, so you can fly in more places. So just for the sim, because sometimes I like to go in different, remote areas, especially in colder areas like more north. It's nice to have the freedom to not worry as much about icing if you run into it. So I like the SR22 for that. And then the Grand Caravan, when I was doing on-air company a lot, I flew the Grand Caravan more than anything just because it could carry... It has a de-icing system too, but the Grand Caravan could carry more cargo than the TBM, so I like flying the Grand Caravan. It was a little slower and more forgiving too. You can fly on smaller on smaller runways and stuff like that. So, all right, Said, take it easy, man. Or is it Saeed? Sorry. Have a good one, man. Thanks for chatting. Okay, so I'm gonna set our autopilot for this because we're doing IFR, and obviously the weather sucks. So I'm just gonna set us for runway heading. Turn on the yaw dampener for when I enable autopilot. And I'm going to change our altitude selection. Let's see what they assigned us. Up here, we can see what they assigned us because we didn't listen to all of it. Climb and maintain 10,000. So I'm setting this to 10,000 down here. And then we'll enable flight level change mode. And I think what's our VY in this? I think it's like, is it 100? You can go down here to speed bugs to see your rotation is 90. Our VY is 110. And you can turn those bugs on so you see them on the airspeed indicator right here. All right, and 110. We have retractable gear in this guy, so I'll remember to put the gear up when we take off. Now let's make sure our flaps are in takeoff. They are. Okay, so we're good to go. So parking brake is off, full throttle. And we need, what was that, 90 for rotation. There's 60, 65. Oh, we're already taking off. It definitely wasn't 90. All right, we're already up. All right, we're at the end of the runway, so gear's coming up. And flaps are coming up. And you might be able to see right here really small, there's a little Y. That's the little speed bug that I turned on to remind us of our climb speed.
November 2, 1 Kilo, India Papa Denver Center. Continue to coffee as planned. Altimeter 29.90.
All right, turned on the autopilot. I put it in nav mode, so it's going to turn us around. It's yelling at us to pull back on the throttle because we are stressing the engine a little. So I'll pull it back a little bit. All right, so gears up, flaps up. Outside air temperature is 14. So we shouldn't have to worry about any kind of icing or anything because it's too warm. And here on our torque, we can see that we're in the green. Huh, why is it still... That's weird. It was just yelling at us about the... oh, inertial separator is still on. I think realistically we would leave it on right now because we're flying through rain and clouds. It basically keeps debris and stuff out of the engine when inertial separator is on. Don't quote me on that, but I think we would keep it on until we're out of the clouds. So I can probably turn it off now. What was weird is it was flashing the turbine temperature warning, but our torque up here wasn't flashing in the red. It was still in the green, so I'm not sure what's going on there. All right. No icing or anything. Lots of lightning. Yeah, I would say when you're messing with your settings, your graphic settings in Microsoft Flight Sim, I would always prioritize clouds because, yeah, as you can see, they're incredible. It's like the best part of the game is the clouds, in my opinion. So rad. All right, so we're about to level off at 10,000, and then they'll probably have us climb even higher. We have, let's see. I mean, we have a good. How long was this flight? It was like 200 miles, so. Oh no, I didn't load the stuff, right? Oh my god, I'm an idiot. All right, I'm gonna restart it. I'm so dumb. I didn't load our cargo.
Hey pilot peeps, listen up. I have an opportunity for you. Crystal Lakes Airport is a privately owned airstrip in Colorado, surrounded by the Roosevelt National Forest natural beauty.
We already heard this tour.
Nearby Crystal Lakes is a charming and relaxed mountain village and recreational community.
Sorry, I gotta redo
A
it.
6,900 square foot community center known as Base Camp.
I wish it would remind you, like, hey, you're flying.
Are needed to keep Base Camp and other small shops stocked up in town. Enjoy some tunes on the way in. And trust me, a little Phil Collins will make any trip that much better.
Yeah, the intros they have are really cool. That's a unique thing about Skypark is those intros. It's pretty cool. All right, let's turn on indicated airspeed again, up to 110. 110 on the speed. All right, there's 113, that's fine. Sync the heading indicator. All right, parking brake says it's on, but it's off. Inertial separator's on, which is good. All right, let's do this again. I did load everything this time. Okay, we are up. Watching the runway. Put the gear up when we don't have any usable runway left. Gear's coming up. And flaps are coming up. The last time I was streaming this, I forgot to load cargo like, what, 3 times in the stream?
Denver Center, Docker, November, 21 kilo.
It's the hardest thing is to remember to load the cargo in the app before you get going.
Dare November 21 kilo India Papa Denver Center. Continue to copy as planned. Altimeter 29.90.
Yeah, you can see here the ITT warning was on, but our torque was not in the red. None of our numbers for the engine info were in red, so I'm not sure why it does that. All right, here we go again. This time I have the autopilot on now, so it's doing our climb and it's turning onto course for us. Flight level change mode set to 113 knots, so our best rate of climb is 110. So here it goes again, see? It's flashing red for ITT saying our temperature is too high, but it's not in the red, it's still in the white. And I'll turn it down a little. Maybe it's yelling because it's not in the green. That could be it. But I feel like it didn't used to do that. All right, there's our flight plan. We're just going to 2 waypoints, a VOR, and then we'll see which approach they assign us. If the weather's anything like this, we can expect one of those 2 RNAV approaches. So I'm gonna go look those up actually at SYF. So I'm actually going over to Sky Vector, and I'm gonna put in that airport. So we're gonna look up the approaches here. So there's the RNAV for 1.4 and the RNAV for 3.2. And if we glance at these, so on this one we have an LPV approach, which includes vertical guidance. So they're both LPV actually. So they both have an LPV approach category, which means they basically work like an ILS does. So we can, if the weather's really, really bad, then we have those approaches available. So we'll get vertical guidance as well as horizontal. All right, we are up above the clouds again. It's pretty cool. The drone camera is so fun to play with. You just hit the apostrophe key on your keyboard, like right next to enter, and that'll toggle you right out to the drone camera. And then just use the arrow keys to move like where it's aiming, and then use like WASD and then R and F for up and down to fly it around. It's pretty awesome. All right, so we're leveled off at 10,000. I'm just gonna watch our speed here, and I should turn inertial separator off. Outside air temperature is 5 degrees, so we're on like that borderline of if we fly through more clouds, it could ice up. But if it does, we'll turn on the, right here, the prop, the windshield, and the airframe de-icing. The pitot heat is on by default, just to make sure that our airspeed indicator keeps working. Yeah, the clouds are pretty awesome. I know people have said that they've gotten worse looking than they used to. Like the variety of the clouds is awesome, but they definitely have these weird it's like this weird like pixelation around them and stuff. It didn't used to be that way. They look like they're like fuzzy almost. I know that changed a couple patches ago, but I mean, you know, the shape of the clouds, the variety of just how they look, it's amazing. I tried some of the third-party add-ons too, like Rex Weather Force is pretty cool. It'll give you more accurate data, like up to the minute, because it looks at real-life METARs, like weather reports, but it's still using presets. Like the built-in live weather is more sophisticated. It doesn't just look at like, oh, there are scattered clouds. I think it has a lot more data it uses to have this kind of really cool variety in the shapes of the clouds and the types of clouds. But I have run into problems where like the live weather was just not working. So it's nice to have those add-ons as a fallback. All right, so let's see. If I actually go over here to our flight tracking, I think we can see how many miles are left. Okay, so those are our 3 accepted missions, but we're flying over to this airport first. Oh yeah, I was thinking 200 miles. It's 200 miles to get to Crystal Lakes again, but we're a lot closer to this airport right here. So 12 miles from this, so let's say 30 to that and another 10 to the airport. Can look at the flight plan to see the distances. So 11 miles, 20 miles on this leg, 14 miles. So yeah, we got, and then 23 miles there. So we got like 55 miles left or so. Something that I hope they fix, we'll see if they fix it on Thursday, is this ETE up here. This is showing the estimated time to get to the next waypoint instead of the estimated time of the full en route path, which would be all the way up to our destination. This should say something like 25 minutes or whatever. But for some reason it just shows the time to the next leg. I mean, which is still useful, but I'm pretty sure that info is supposed to be on the waypoint display, not on this overall, kind of the overall flight plan display. Maybe that's a difference between the G3000, which is what this is, versus the G1000, but it would be nice to have an overall time until arrival, basically. It's awesome. The cloud's like right down to the ground here. All right, I'm pulling back on our torque just a little bit so it doesn't yell at me. It's at 106%, so I'm gonna pull it back to around 90. There we go. Ground speed 290 knots. Awesome. And then our destination airport, I actually don't, let's see, I can look it up, but I need to do it through the contracts page, I think, right here, to get the info on this airport. KSYF. So here's where we're going first, and we're gonna pick up these other things there. Or we're gonna see if we're allowed to pick them up. And then we have 187 miles to the destination. We're going to go to a third airport before then. Yeah, so the airport elevation, 3,400 feet. There's a concrete runway and 2 grass runways, so we'll go for the concrete one if we can. 1-4 and 3-2, and that's where those RNAV approaches are. And so ATC hasn't told us anything else yet, but they should, before we get to our next waypoint, give us an approach. Yeah, so we're at 10,000 and its elevation is 3,500. So we'll want to get down to around 5,000 feet for the approach. And mattering which approach they give us, we'll see. Yeah, it looks like over here on the approach plates, I'm just looking at one of them. They're both similar. They both have this, or there's this Zackle final approach fix where we need to be at or above 5,200 feet. And then there's this Catax one that's also 5,200 feet. So in both cases for the final approach fix, we'll need to be at 5,200. It looks like before then, be at 6,800 on both. So I'm gonna set our autopilot altitude down to 6,800 because they're probably gonna give us that instruction soon. All right, so that's set at 6,800. And then when we descend, when they tell us to, we'll do 5 times our ground speed will give us roughly our rate of descent feet per minute. So 280 times 5 is 1,400. So we'll descend at 14 or 1,500 feet per minute. But we'll just wait for them to let us know. All right, bringing the beats back in. Got our pilot music turned on. Coffee and donut break while we're on autopilot. Hey Henry, how you doing? Thanks, we got some fun IFR stuff happening right now. And we're doing a test on this flight to see if this Skypark app lets me do multiple flights at the same time. So see all three of these green flights here. Each one has cargo to be picked up and delivered to the same destination. So the first thing I'm doing is flying over to this airport right here, KSYF, and we're gonna see if we can pick up cargo from there to see if we can, you know, just zigzagging, do 1, 2, 3 pickups and then 1 delivery instead of 3 individual flights. So we'll see how that goes. You can definitely do that in other career mode add-ons like On Air. And I think NeoFly even lets you do that too. I'm giving it a shot with Skypark. We'll see what we get to do here. I'm going to take a look really quickly at the Microsoft forums again to look at the upcoming patch this week. Just want to make sure I remember everything that's in it. Yeah, so Sim Update 4, May 20th. So that's this Thursday. And the things they say that are going to be fixed or at least improved are Garmin G1000 and G3000 plus autopilot. It says that that's going to be fixed for, actually, can I show you guys? Here we go, yeah. So it says Sim Update 4, G1000, G3000 autopilot, Sim Update 4, live weather and wind readings. So it says several releases for both of those. Then we also have excessive icing fixed in Sim Update 4, ATC and correct phraseology. So hopefully some of the ATC stuff will be more concise. That says fixed for Sim Update 4. Down here, approach flyback bug. This is the weird 360 degree turn thing or 180 degree turn that happens during approaches. That's been there since the game launched. It says it started for Sim Update 4. I mean, hopefully it's fixed if it's marked Sim Update 4. And then tree density. It's several releases, including Sim Update 4. And then the rest of this stuff doesn't have a release date specifically yet, so we'll see what they do there. Icing for no reason, yeah. Alright, descend and maintain 5,600. Oh, 6,800 for us, so he gave 2 different instructions.
Descend and maintain 6,800 feet, Donner, Kilo India Papa.
Okay, so we're going down 1,500 feet per minute. I'm pulling the throttle back.
5,600 feet, expect vectors, visual runway, 12 approach, P24.
All right, that's someone else that's getting callouts for their approach as well. But for us, we're going down to 6,800. Yeah, the icing can be really random, especially when it happens when you're not at a temperature that icing should even be possible. So I think you need to be, I think in different pilot handbooks for different planes I've read, around 5 degrees Celsius is when they recommend like starting to turn on anti-icing, like in anticipation of potentially taking on icing if there's visible moisture. But yeah, it seems so random, and it's always from 0 to 100, right? Like you're never getting just slight icing. It's just either on or off. It's like 100% icing or no icing at all. So it's really weird. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope it says that it's improved and also that there's an option to turn it off. But there's already been an option to turn it off, so I'm not sure what they're referring to. with the new option there. But we will see. All right, they should be giving us the RNAV. We're about to cross our final waypoint in our flight plan here. So hopefully when we hit this, they give us the RNAV. There's 2 RNAV approaches. Both are LPV, which stands for Localizer Performance with Vertical Guidance. So that's the most ILS-like RNAV approach that we have available. So we'll get vertical and horizontal guidance. It's not exactly as precise as an ILS. It's not considered a precision approach, but we do get vertical and horizontal guidance for it. Yeah, I'm really excited for the patch. Like whenever there's a sim update, they tend to do a lot of fixes. So, all right, here comes the approach.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect RNAV runway 14 approach.
RNAV 14
Cleared to Whitbo.
to Whippo. So I'm gonna go to approach. We want the RNAV 14 to Whitvo. Load and activate. All right, and I'm bringing my throttle back up. So you can see it loaded the approach in. We're cleared to Whitbo, which I guess is a waypoint out in this area. That's where our U-turn is. All right, bringing our torque back up. So bringing our engine power back up a bit. And then let's take a look at the RNAV 14. So I have that pulled up right here. So here's Whitvo. This is the waypoint that they told us to go to. There is a hold, like a procedure turn or hold here, but those are not available in Microsoft Flight Sim Avionics, and they never tell you to do the hold. So we pretty much just ignore the holds in Microsoft Flight Sim. So we're gonna spin around this way, and then we'll be on our course for runway 14, so a 139 course. We can see it says WAS up here. We have the LPV down here. So that's localizer performance with vertical. So we can think of it like an ILS. Our minimum is 250 feet AGL. All right, pulling back our speed just a little bit. So we have a minimum of 250 feet. So I'm gonna program that in down here. Where's the minimums again?
Airport is 12 miles at your 12 o'clock. Maintain present heading and altitude. Report runway in sight.
So it's going to be on the PFD, right? There's our minimums. So for minimums, we want to put in 250 AGL, 250 radio altitude. So that's AGL above the ground.
P24 runway in
All
sight.
right.
P24, you are 12 miles west of Kilo Golf.
So someone else is landing here too. So they're talking to them right now. Pulling back on our speed just a little bit. So down here we have, I put in the minimum, so 250 feet radio altitude. So radio altitude, that's our from the ground. So this airplane has like a radio based altitude system in it. So instead of using our altimeter altitude, our MSL reading, we can use AGL and just put in 250 feet. So from the ground level, 250 feet minimum. So I have that dialed in. And so I put in 250 because right here we have 250. So the big number is our altimeter. So if we went off our altimeter, it'd be 3662 feet above sea level. If we go by AGL above ground level, it's 250 feet above ground level. So that's why we do that, and 1 mile of visibility. So this applies to all of our aircraft classes. So if we were in a slower plane, we would still have the same ones, like a Class A, Category A plane, like a small Cessna or something. But we are in the turboprop. So then we see we're going to be at, so we're at 6,800 right now. Then they're going to have us ascend to 5,200, then to 4,240. But once we're at 5,200, we should have some level of, whoa, holy crap. We should have some level of vertical guidance by then. As far as I know, there's no like simulated loss of reception with our GPS or our WAS enabled stuff, so we don't have to worry about not having reception in the flight sim. But if it was realistic, it's possible that it could downgrade us and automatically say like, oh, there's not enough information to do an LPV, you have to do the LNAV or you have to do the LNAV VNAV. But Thankfully, LPV RNAV approaches work in Microsoft Flight Sim. Anything with VNAV does not work in Microsoft Flight Sim yet. And you can see that if you just go to your flight plan, mattering which avionics you're using. It has these altitudes in here, but they don't actually do anything. Those altitudes would be used during the approach to do our VNAV profile to tell us how to descend and give us like basically a calculated glide path, but that does not work. Unless you're flying the CJ4 mod, that working title mod. I haven't tried it myself, but supposedly that mod for that jet by the working title team does have VNAV capability. So we'll see on Thursday when they do the flight sim update 4, if they add any of that. All right, so I'm going pretty slow here. I can speed up just a little bit. We have to make this 180 to make this turn over here. Then I'll activate approach mode once we make that turn, or we start making that turn. So at Zackle, we need to be at 5,200 feet. So what I'm gonna do is put our selected altitude in our autopilot down to that, just so we're partially set up. It's beautiful. Look at it. I need to remember to put the gear down since we're not in the Cessna anymore. And we also have an approach speed bug we can turn off if we want to. So here under speed bugs, I can turn on this approach speed. So it says 85 knots for our approach speed. So we'll see that on the airspeed indicator strip right here. It'll be this little icon on the right side, tacked or pinned to the 85 knots mark. And I use this spacebar shortcut pretty often. If you just hit spacebar on your keyboard, it'll just sit up in the seat like this. So if you want to get a little higher view, no matter which camera mode you're in. So here I'm in the landing camera mode or whatever. If I hit space, it'll still sit me up in the seat. So that's kind of nice. You're suddenly 7 feet tall. Hit spacebar, get taller. It's that easy. All right, so I'm just speeding us up a bit here for the sake of time. I'm not using the sim rate at all. I'm just speeding up just adding some power. Actually, what are our flap speeds? I know they're written over here. So landing gear down, is that 170? It's really hard to see that actually. Yeah, I can't read these. We have maneuvering speeds and all that, but we don't. Inverted flight prohibited. Damn. I think I might have the textures turned down a little, which is why you can't read this little placard as well. But it looks like 151 for landing gear up, and is that 172 for landing gear down? Something like that. Trying to see if I can move a little closer to it. Yeah, it looks like 178 maybe that says, and then landing gear. So flaps extended speed for landing configuration 122 knots. Flaps extended maximum speed 122. So that's for full flaps. I'm not actually sure the first notch of flaps, what the speed limit is on that. All right, so we're about parallel with our waypoint right now, and the airport is going to be a little further back in that mess over there. Anyway, so it looks like we'll probably be in the clouds down to the runway. We'll see what it looks like.
Papa, you are 13 miles west of Kilo Sierra, Yankee Foxtrot.
All right, thanks for the info, ATC.
Kilo, India Papa.
Inverted flight's everyone's dream, especially as a
Kilo Sierra,
passenger.
Yankee Foxtrot, traffic Donner, November,
Yeah,
21
totally.
Kilo India, Papa 13 miles west inbound RNAV runway 14.
And I have the autopilot, I have the co-pilot doing the radio comms for us here,
Traffic
this
Donner,
setting.
November, 21 Kilo India Papa is on final runway 14 to land.
All right, so it'll start making that right turn here for us shortly. Yeah, we could be in a bunch of cloud. This could be a cool approach. So we're just headed right into the soups. Where are we? Oh, there we are. Yeah, look at all that mess over there. I don't really fly the military jets too much, but they're pretty fun. Me and my girlfriend downloaded one night, just had some drinks and flew through the clouds for a bit. It was a pretty good time. It's fun just to mess around. Sometimes like I do these like flights with all the approaches and take it a little too seriously sometimes, I think, or most of the time I'm just kind of trying to do realistic flights. It is really fun to, I mean, the top rotor solo a couple weeks ago when that came out, that was really fun. Just to do some VFR sightseeing, like fly really close to buildings. Like I need to do more of that. I'm just always flying these missions and doing approach procedures and stuff like that. But the jets are also super fun. You're like flying at like 400 knots or whatever it is, just doing barrel rolls through the clouds. It's pretty awesome. Oh, the helicopter. I haven't tried that at all, actually. I know a lot of people are really excited for helicopters. The official Microsoft Flight Sim Twitch account, they do like a community fly-in every week. I happen to be on like a lunch break. I work at home and I just took like I usually take a little break over lunch to keep my sanity. But I took a break and joined in for 20 minutes or so, and I'm pretty sure someone was flying a helicopter around. You know, on my end, it looked like they were flying a Cessna or something, because I don't have the helicopter installed. But they were just like hovering over the airfield, so it was pretty obvious they were using the chopper. But I haven't tried it yet. It could be pretty fun. All right, I'm going to turn on approach mode. And at this next waypoint, we need to be down at 5,200. So I'm going to go to vertical speed mode and take us down to 5,200. We need to catch up to that glide path. So by our next waypoint, we need to be at 5,200. So we're in vertical speed mode. We have approach mode activated, so we see that GP for glide path, so it's ready to capture that vertical guidance, because this is an LPV RNAV approach, so we get vertical guidance. You can use those in Flight Sim. Just a reminder, when you bring up the approach plate down here at the bottom, so this is the runway we're landing at, this is the approach we're flying. Down here, if it says LPV, then in Microsoft Flight Sim, you'll have the ability to get that vertical guidance for this category of RNAV approach. So that's why we have the diamond here. We have the magenta diamond. If you've flown an ILS approach, you're used to seeing the green course here, green instead of magenta, or a green diamond for the glide path, but we get magenta when we're flying the LPV or an RNAV approach that has vertical guidance. All right, so I'm going to increase my descent a little bit here. And I'm pulling our throttle back quite a bit. So it looks like we need to be even lower, so I'm turning our altitude down even more now. I am not a pilot at all. I haven't done even a discovery flight yet, so I'm just a sim guy right now, but we'll see. Everybody always asks that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm more excited about the technology. That's what interests me, is the technology behind flying so far. I don't know how I'd react to actually flying in real life. All right, I'm putting gear down because we're at 150. Congrats on your first solo. I mean, that's awesome. My partner is a pilot. She got her PPL in December. So I've mostly been learning because she's training. She's working on her instrument rating right now. And I wanted to learn more to become kind of a good passenger and just for my own sanity to like learn about flight. So I'm not as, as worried about being in a small plane or anything. But no, you guys that have flown, I do not have any flying experience at all. All right, so I'm descending even more here. First notch of flaps is going down just to slow us down a bit. It's probably a little early, but I'm just going down faster. We're catching up to the glide slope right now. So you can see that purple diamond coming into the middle. So this is about to catch on. See if it turns green. It is not turning green. All right, so sometimes this does happen. I gotta slow our descent. So you'll notice it's not capturing this. It should be an LPV approach. So it should give us that vertical guidance, and autopilot should be able to grab onto that, but it's not doing that. So this happens sometimes in Microsoft Flight Sim where the autopilot will not grab onto the glide path. The reason for this is probably because I have the Navigraph beta database installed. So it could be that the LPV approach is part of the Navigraph data and not part of the actual Microsoft Flight Sim data. So I think what's happening is it's confused basically. Like the autopilot doesn't think there's vertical guidance, but the Navigraph database does show us vertical guidance. So I think that difference is probably what's messing up the autopilot from capturing. But the horizontal guidance is working just fine, and we do get the diamond still. So what I'm gonna do is just use our vertical speed modes to just hold that diamond in the middle. Once she is a CFI, she can teach you. Yeah, she's like, I nerded out on a lot of the instrument stuff when I first started using the flight sim, and she's learning that stuff for real now. So I keep checking in with her to just double check the learning that I've done to make sure that it's accurate, because she's actually working with a real instructor, whereas I'm just reading and watching YouTube videos and watching Bold Method and stuff like that to learn. Yeah, I'm constantly bugging her with random questions. Okay, we can see the runway right there. I don't know if you guys can see that on the stream, but it's right out there. All right, so gear is down and one notch of flaps are down. I need to pull back on our speed. We're about to hit the final approach fix, which is Zackle, which is right there on our map, you can see. We're about 2 miles away from that. Probably have my first notch of flaps up right now, but I put it down early to help us descend and slow down. And so touchdown zone elevation is 3,412 feet. So I'm gonna set that as a reminder right here, 3,400. Go around, or our missed approach procedure is to go straight and climb to 6,800. So if we can't see the runway, we would do that, but we can already see the runway pretty well right now. But who knows what the clouds are gonna do in front of us. And I have approach mode on, but you can see, yeah, the autopilot does not want to capture the glide slope. So we're just doing that ourselves. And when we land here, what I'm testing by going to this airport is to see if I'm using the Skypark app. So what I want to see is in this career mode add-on, if we can do multi-leg trips. So I'm picking up cargo 1, 2, 3 spots. So this is the second location to pick up cargo. So we're going to find out if we can pick up multiple cargo loads on the way. So we can kind of do that logistics planning of 3 pickups and 1 drop off instead of flying 3 legs Or instead of flying a, you know, a round trip 3 times, which would suck. All right, so gear is down. You can see the approach speed bug down here at 85. Okay, we're 1 mile from this next waypoint. So we have our gear down, we have our flaps down, just in one position right now. We need one more notch of flaps for landing. And down here we can also see right here this RA, that's our radio-based altitude. So that's from the ground, we're 800 feet up. We can go down to 250 AGL on this approach. And I noticed the glide path has not changed at all. Oh, we just got the glide path. There it is. Nice. So what happened is we got the glide path 1 waypoint too late. We were supposed to have the glide path at Zackle, but we got it at the next waypoint. So now we have the glide path. And you can see that the autopilot actually did grab on. So we got GP in the green right there. And so we are 2 miles out from the runway. So I put in our last notch of flaps. And now I'm adding a little throttle to compensate for full flaps. You turn on the radio altitude under the PFD settings. So down here you hit PFD, and then you hit minimums right here. And then you turn minimums from off to radio altitude. You can also choose barometric altitude if you want to put in your altimeter version, but I use the radio altitude. It's just easier, but you can use either one. All right, so we're not at minimums yet. We have 100 feet to minimums. 300 feet, our minimum's coming up right now, so that's minimums. All right, autopilot is off. We're at 82 knots. Whoa, the wind, holy crap. All right, we're getting some crazy wind gusts. Dude. Or that could be because I have yaw dampener on. Whoa, what is happening with these gusts? All right, power's at idle. All right. Bunch of right rudder here. Every time I land, it's pulling me, it pulls me hard left in Microsoft Flight Sim. I'm not sure why that happens, but it'll be really smooth, the back wheels, and as soon as the front wheel comes down, it just yanks me extremely hard to one side. And you guys that have flown for real can say if that's realistic or not, but my hunch is that it's not realistic for that to happen. All right, put my flaps up. I just realized I did not turn on the inertial separator, which we should have done for the landing in the TBM, but I did not do that. I think the procedure is to turn that on too, especially when it's raining. With precipitation or like in case of bird strikes and things like that, you turn that on, but. All right, so I'm just gonna stop on the runway right here, even though it's not kosher. And I wanna check out, the app and see, silence that warning. And I wanna see if it's gonna let us pick up the cargo here. So I started this, you can see that I started this mission, so it says manage. Now if I go to this one and go to begin, what I'm finding out is if we can do multiple ones right now. So I hit begin.
Hey pilot peeps, listen up. I have an opportunity
Rain,
for you.
snow, ice,
Crystal
on
Lakes
at
Airport
10,000
is a
feet.
privately owned airstrip in Colorado, surrounded by the Roosevelt National Forest's natural beauty. Nearby Crystal Lakes is a charming and relaxed mountain village and recreational community.
So Skypark has these like intros and stuff. It's like a guided tour for some of these missions.
Community center known as Base Camp. Weekly supply runs are needed to keep Base Camp and other small shops stocked up in town. Enjoy some tunes on the way in. And trust me, a little Phil Collins will make any trip that much better.
All right, so I'm gonna hit load on all of these since we're at this airport. And I've never done this before in this app, so I'm curious if it's gonna keep track that we have 2 missions going at once now. And it looks like it does because they're both green. So it says manage on this one, and it says manage on this one, which means they're both in progress. So this is awesome. So now what we can do is go to our third cargo pickup airport over here, 43 Charlie Oscar. We'll pick up there, and then we'll finally deliver all 3 sets of cargo at once to this Crystal Lakes airport here in the middle. Yeah, and if you guys have used other career mode add-ons like this, the Skypark does not manage payload or fuel for you. So at any time you can just come in and just bump your fuel and stuff like that. So it's just at the default payload. So that's one downside that takes away from the realism a little bit, is there's no payload management or weights and balances stuff with this one. All right, but we are loaded here. So now we can fly to 43CO. And I'm gonna do that just by going back to the main menu and just for the sake of time, doing the IFR flight plan using the world map. I'm gonna do IFR just because the weather is so bad that realistically we would fly this IFR. I go back to the world map. And we're going from here, KSYF, over here to 43 Charlie Oscar. I'll put that in here, Franktown. And then here I'd change from VFR to, I'll just do low altitude. Airways, 41 minutes. High altitude gives us 29 minutes. Is it really that much of a time saving? Probably because the winds at the higher altitudes, maybe we have a nice tailwind, so that's probably why it's a lot faster of a route. And there's lightning, so I guess we'll do that one to save some more time. Your tutorials help me out. I love your videos. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks a lot, man. See you, Amir. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time, dude. Thanks for chatting and being here. Appreciate it. All right, so we have lightning again. So yeah, we'll do IFR. We'll just go to high altitudes this time. It says it'll shave off a bunch of time, but so wait, this is where we are, right? KSYF. So it says a 1,600 foot grass runway, but we definitely landed on a longer runway than that. If I go back to the details here, yeah, it's a 5,000 foot concrete runway. So it has us on a grass runway. So let's go ahead and pick the, let's see, 1.4, or it had us on 1.4. Oh, okay. It just didn't update this info. So it does have us on the 5,000 foot concrete runway. So we'll start there. Okay, so now we picked all that stuff up. So we need to, it says to go to 25 Charlie Oscar, but we're not going to go there yet. Like I said, we're going to go to this 43CO first to pick up our last set of cargo here. All right, so this is a grass strip here, 6,700 foot elevation. It's only 1,600 feet of grass, so this could be horrible. So we'll see. Hey, Tiago, sorry if I'm not saying that right, but thanks, man. Join the stream, learning a lot. Thanks from Portugal. Well, welcome. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for hanging out on this Sunday. All right, so we're gonna do high altitudes here. So this is the last one we're going to, not for the stream, but just for this, for these pickups. So we're gonna go to 25 Charlie Oscar. And I'm gonna open the ATC panel to see what they cleared us for. So they cleared us for 10,000 feet for our initial climb. So I'm gonna set our autopilot. I'm gonna sync the heading straight ahead, turn heading mode on. Then we're gonna set our altitude selection at 10,000 feet. I'm gonna hit B on my keyboard to set our altimeter. It looks like it's standard. So here we're setting 10,000 feet because that's what they told us to climb to, is 10,000 to start. And then they'll have us go up to like 30 probably. And then flight level change mode. We want to climb in this plane at 110. So turning, just setting the autopilot all up, and then yaw damper we want on. All right, I'm gonna go a little higher. We're gonna go 120 for our climb. All right, 24 degrees outside. It's super warm. And that's all set. It's in FMS mode, so it'll use our GPS flight plan. All right, we're good. Full throttle. Right rudder. and it's pretty windy. We have an 11 knot, well, it's not a full-on crosswind, but we have an 11 knot. It's kind of like a tail slash crosswind. That's why, and it's like gusting like crazy. All right, we're running out of runway, so I'm putting the gear up. Oh, Steve-O does a TBM to 140? Oh, okay, 140. We could do that. If Steve-O does it, then I'm down to do what he does. He's the pro. All right, I set it to 140 now. Cover more ground at 140.
21 Kilo India Papa is at 4,100 feet, climbing 10,000 feet. Denver, November, 21 Kilo India, call the Denver Center, continue as planned.
All right, continue as planned, so we're gonna turn nav mode on. 2992 on the altimeter is correct. And pull back a little on the speed. We're on our throttle here because it's a little too high. So the ITT, I think if it's over oh, I thought it was 740. Looks like it's at 775 right now. What were you guys saying about the inertial separator? Fly farther, you were talking about that. You said on at 10,000 feet, you mean as soon as we're below at 10,000 or below, we keep the inertial separator on? Is that the procedure? I have it on right now. What's interesting is, I hope they improve this too, but it's always warning that I have it on. Maybe it's just a reminder. I don't know how realistic that is. But it would be cool if it told us when to have it on or off. If it's at 10,000. But I'll leave it on for now. From start to 10,000. Okay, gotcha. Cool. All right, so we'll leave it on to 10,000 then. Thanks for the info. And I think I think when it's on, we have slightly less engine power. I could be wrong. Yeah, bird. Yep. It's pretty crazy that it exists. I know the Grand Caravan also has an inertial separator. I think on the Grand Caravan, you usually just leave it on though. I haven't looked at the POH for the Grand Caravan for a while. After 10, turn it on and watch it speed up. Yeah, it definitely affects the engine power, right? I definitely noticed that. No, I don't fly the 320. I've done it here and there, just for fun. Sometimes I'll fly like the Citation, the CJ4 usually, but most of the time I'm just flying the props and the turbo props. I'm not very experienced flying the airliners. Mostly flying the GA stuff. All right, flight level 180.
Climb and maintain flight level 180 Docker, Kilo India Papa.
All right, I'll turn that inertial separator off. Okay, there's 180 on the autopilot and inertial separator off. Because we're over 10,000. I knew that all along. I definitely knew that this whole time. Nobody just told me that. But thanks for the tip, fly farther. So inertial separator is off, and I'm just gonna watch our torque because I know this thing is super powerful. Yeah, I have enough challenges flying all the GA planes compared to the airliners. I think I would embarrass myself trying the airliners on stream. I spent all my time in the turboprops and the like the Cessna, the SR-22, and I really like the I know I keep mentioning this on the streams, but I really like the Diamond. The DA40NG is awesome. I think that the DA40 is like really nice just because there's no mixture. It's like fuel injected, so there's no mixture, and it's a constant speed prop, but it's all controlled by the computer. So you just have a single throttle to deal with. I mean, pretty much like the TBM, right? All we really do is touch the throttle knob on the throttle lever on this thing. Yeah, the TBM is really cool. I know this is like one of the most loved planes in Microsoft Flight Sim. Like, I know everybody loves this thing. It's pretty amazing. For some reason, I lost a couple of liveries on it. I just have 3 right now. It's because I installed a couple of Airbus liveries just to have a variety in the traffic that's at the airports when I'm at them. But I do like that. All the built-in liveries are pretty awesome. All right, so we're on a direct route here. It says 42 minutes. We'll see where it gets to once we're flying level. And 124 miles. We're just going direct, but we're gonna have to land at a grass strip. I actually, I don't know if this is a bad idea. I think it said, let's see. Yeah, it's a 1,600 foot long grass strip. So I should have checked, but didn't check what the TBM's minimum runway length is for landing. It looks like it might be around 1,500 feet for landing, and this is 16, so it might be slightly, it seems like it's possible. Oh, real sim gear. They're making touchscreen for the TBM. Oh, damn. That's awesome. All right, 300.
Climb and maintain flight level 300 Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
All right, back to flight level change mode. Up to 300. And our altimeter is already at standard, so we're good. We're at over 18,000 feet, so we're at 2992. Real sim gear stuff is awesome. I have the 530, I have the 430, and I have the G1000 Suite I just got about a month ago. I'm not using it right now because I'm actually using the Honeycomb Bravo, and I'm just using the autopilot stuff on that. But I really like the G1000 as well. The touchscreen ones, that sounds awesome. Did they make the G3X touch? I don't know if Real Sim Gear makes those or not. Lucky devil. I definitely splurged a bit, but I've also been selling stuff off as I'm trying things. So like, you know, I had the SciTech stuff, and I had the SciTech stuff and tried it out. I didn't mind the throttle for that. My only complaint on that throttle for the SciTech or Logitech one is just that it would be shaky. Like it would think you're inputting. If you looked at the throttle when you're using, oh no! Oh my God! I just turned the fuel tank selector off. No. Okay, I'm gonna cheat a little bit and do the engine start checklist. I rolled my mouse wheel while I was zooming out, and it automatically shut off the. Oh my God, we're gonna die.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
All right, I'm gonna turn flight level change mode off.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Just turned off the engine with my mouse.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Fuel tank selector up here should still be on auto, up on top.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing
Ignition auto.
landing gear.
Autopilot on.
Landing gear.
Fuel selection's on auto.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
All right, let's go back here. We're gonna reset.
Landing gear.
I'm just gonna use these.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
I can't believe I just did that.
Landing gear.
When you move the mouse wheel to zoom, I was moused over the fuel tank selector and then clicked it by accident.
Auxiliary boost PMP.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing
Just gonna use the fuel selection here.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Wish I could tell it to be quiet.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Delta Kilo India Papa, please expedite your climb to flight level 300.
Okay, it's back. Been there, done that. All right, I'm pulling our throttle back a little bit. Oh man, that's so stressful. I obviously did not mean to do that. All right, we're going back into flight level change mode here. Wow. Ugh. That was horrible. What were we talking about? Oh, I was talking about the SciTech throttle. So if you had looked at when I was using that throttle, whenever I would look at the throttle levers, they would just be shaking, like as if I was just like wiggling it back and forth. So that was something that just kind of annoyed me, like knowing that it was constantly moving the throttle up and down while I'm flying. But the honeycomb one is right on, like there's no unintentional inputs happening. You can see this is like solid, like as a rock, just sitting there perfectly. So that's been, it's been nice with the Bravo. So it's definitely higher quality. Do you feel like the ATC IFR following works well? Most of the time I feel that it fails giving correct altitudes. Yeah, I've run into that too, where it gives really strange altitudes.
132.5.
It seems when I fly an ILS approach, it seems to be good. In general, it calls out the right altitudes that are in the approach plate. So I think in general the ILS has worked well. I did notice. So I'm just listening to ATC. I did notice that in the last flight we did, we were doing that RNAV approach, and it didn't call out all the altitudes for us. It only called out the final approach fix, or sorry, it only called out the initial approach fix altitude. But with the ILS, it seems like they call out more altitudes. I mean, it's our responsibility to fly the approach as it's published, right? Like I shouldn't be relying on them calling out those altitudes. But I have noticed with ILS, it calls them out. And then en route altitudes seem really random sometimes. Like generally you should be at 1,000-foot increment when you're doing IFR, right? It'll be either like, if you're flying eastbound, it'll be in the odd number of thousands. So like 13, 15, 17, and so on. And if you're flying westbound, it should be even. So 20, 22, 24, and so on. But I've noticed times where it'll give me a really weird altitude. It'll say like climb and maintain 15,200 feet. So there's some random stuff like that. But I think when it comes to approaches, like I'll listen to what they're saying to just not get yelled at when you're not flying the assigned altitude. But it seems like once you hit the initial approach fix, you should just ignore what they're saying and just fly the approach as it's published in the chart. And if you're practicing approaches, you're going to want to do that anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of ATC issues. It sounds like they're going to be fixing a bunch of stuff on Thursday. Part of the Thursday patch is ATC fixes, as well as the Garmin avionics and autopilot fixes. So I'll definitely be doing a live stream again on Thursday in the evening. So evening time and California time. So I'll be doing that to just review the patch and see what's changed. But I'm hopeful. I'm excited for it. Anytime there's a world update, I get pretty stoked. Or sorry, a sim update, I get stoked. The world updates are great too, but I'm more excited about the sim updates in general because most of the world looks awesome already. So I just want the bug fixes, you know? That's what I do. I learned after I missed a lot of approaches with ATC. Yeah, something else that happens with ATC is all right, down to 240. Something else that happens with ATC is if you have live traffic on, if you have live traffic and multiplayer traffic on, and you're flying at a really busy airport, like you're flying into Seattle or LAX or something, it won't separate you from the traffic, and sometimes it'll just keep yelling at you to go missed over and over and over and over again. It'll say to abort the approach or whatever, and there's like no opportunity to get into the airport because of all the traffic, because they don't separate you from the live and the multiplayer traffic in any way. They just sequence all of the other traffic in except for you. They don't separate you at all. So they end up, I remember one time I was trying to fly into Seattle at SeaTac, KSEA, and the plane was over me. Yeah, that happened once. I think it might have been that video, but there were parts that I cut out from the video. there were times where I flew that approach like 4 times because it kept telling me to go around. So I'd have to fly the missed approach and then go around. And I just realized after a few tries that there was no way it was going to let me just land. So I just ignored it and landed. So, but yeah, I'm sure they'll improve it. It would be really, really cool if it sequenced you in with the AI traffic and the live traffic. That would be great. You know, or it would have been cool if it takes into, I know it sounds so advanced, like this is such a wish list item, but you know, if it knows that there's a lot of traffic going to one runway, maybe it wouldn't assign you that runway. It would give you a different runway that's still somewhat favorable with the winds and the weather, but it would be cool if it did that to sequence you in when there's a lot of traffic.
Going to 133.905 Kilo India Papa. Denver Center November 21 Kilo India Papa is at flight level 270, descending flight level 240.
Alright, we are descending. Multiplayer is mayhem. Sometimes I see some really funny call signs and tail numbers. In the last stream, somebody was flying around with just their tail number was just F, 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 F. And when ATC was saying it, I thought there was a bug or something. It was pretty funny. All right, they just said continue as planned. So this is a grass strip. So, and I have no idea what the weather is there right now. We could go to nearest, could try to find them under this list and see if there's any weather info we can find for 43CO. Actually, what we can do is just put in the waypoint info. 43CO. And there are no frequencies. So we would need a nearby airport. So there's Kappa, KAPA. Here we have ATIS, so I'll put that on COM 2. Go to nav COM and then monitor 1 and 2 so we can listen to the ATIS if we're in range. It sounds like we're not in range yet. I'll just leave it on monitoring, so once we're in range we'll hear the weather. So we don't know how low these clouds go. And I know there's a weather display in here too, so we could go and turn on the weather. Go to weather selection vertical and then zoom in here so we can see the weather underneath us. Something that doesn't work, I don't think, is this, this says plus or minus 60,000 feet. These should change just like the miles do when we zoom in and out. So I should be able to zoom in and point at this and be like, oh, it's 2,000 feet below us. But that doesn't seem to work. All right, we're gonna go down to 14,000.
Maintain 14,000 feet. Doher, Kilo India Papa.
And our ground speed is about 200 knots, so we should go down at about 1,000 feet per minute. Just multiply by 5. All right, we got some icing. Turn all the icing stuff on, negative 25. Yeah, you caught the icing just when I did. Maybe a little before, to be honest. Yeah, I wish this worked. This would be really cool for this to be accurate. So we would know this is, say, how much each one of these vertical hash lines is. These little markers. You know, it could be 1,000, could be 500, who knows. But looks like we're descending pretty well. So it looks like maybe it is like 2,000 or 3,000 feet below. I have no idea. And this approach is going to be weird. I mean, we're going to have to overfly this grass strip to figure out where it is exactly. Because it is at So it's at 6,700 feet elevation, 1,600 foot long grass strip. Runway headings 36 and 18, so directly north and south. Let's go back to the map here. We have no wind data right now. I'm going to turn on the wind info here. I like option 2, it's just simple. No wind data.
You are 74 miles east. Centennial Airport is maintain 8,000 feet extended to the visual runway 18 approach. Kilo India Papa descend and maintain 8,700 feet.
All right, 8,700. So the second that overlap was the ATIS because it was in range.
Feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway 18 approach Kilo India Papa.
All right, expect vectors for the visual 18 approach. And let's listen to the weather again.
Center, generic November 828 Delta Zulu is at 13,900.
Wait for these guys to be quiet.
0,000 feet.
It would be cool when you did monitor 1 and 2 if it split them to the left and right channels. So you had one in one ear and one in the other. That would be pretty awesome. All right, let's try to monitor and decipher it. Hopefully there's no ATC over.
Centennial Airport information whiskey 22000. Wind calm. Visibility 3. Sky conditions.
Visibility
Few
3.
clouds at 1,000 feet. Few clouds at 4,800 feet. Few clouds at 12,100 feet. Temperature 12. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.85. ILS runway 3.
ILS. Oh, that's for that airport. That's why. So that's nearby weather. So would they say 1,200 feet? Clouds at 1,200. Clouds at 4,800, I think. So the airport elevation 6,700 feet. Got a little bit of icing still. Hey, Augusta, what's up? Have a nice flight. Oh, no problem, man. Your English is great. I totally understand you. Thanks for hanging out. All right, we're still descending here. 19, descending for 8,700. Going down at 1,200 feet per minute. I think we can do like 1,500, I'm pretty sure. I know the standard rule is like 5 times your ground speed gives you like a 3-degree descent angle. But I'm just gonna go a little bit faster. So we got another 10,000 feet to descend. And we are only, okay, we're 65 miles away still, so. So let's see, we need to descend 6,700, add 1,500 to that. That gives us 8,200. So 8,200 from 18, so we need to get down 10,000 feet. We're at 200 knots, so we're a little more than 3 miles a minute. And if we're descending at 1,400 feet per minute, 10,000 feet, that gives us about 7 minutes. So then 7 times around 3 or 3.5 gives us 20 to 25 miles. So we don't really need to be down there until like, it'll take us 25 miles to get down to that altitude, roughly, if my math is right. So we'll be down a little early at this rate, so I can pull it back up and do we can do 1,000 or like 1,100 feet per minute will be enough. And they'll yell at us to expedite our descent. They just tend to do that all the time anyway. And the icing, this is the icing where it just goes from 0 to 100. But it is really cold out, negative 10 degrees Celsius right now. So hopefully once we get a little lower, it'll be warmer and some of the ice will melt off here. Have all the de-icing systems on. Getting a little bumpy. Whoa, that's so cool. I love when there's just holes through the clouds. That's the coolest thing. This is why IFR is cool. Don't worry about that. Everything's fine. Freezing? Oh no. Okay, we're back. Alright, I was worried it was gonna crash. We're good. Notice little stutters like that here and there, but thankfully the game hasn't crashed. Sometimes it'll just stutter for a bit. I didn't realize this was live. Yeah. It is live. It is 3:50 p.m. Pacific time in real life right now. Yeah, I've been doing the live streams just because I don't always know what video I want to make next. It's been several months since I've put out an actual video, so I've just been doing these live streams just to show that I'm still alive. And I usually do these cargo flights and stuff. I use these career mode add-ons. When I'm not making videos and stuff, I do this for fun, and I figured I might as well stream them. And it's been cool. A bunch of you guys have been hopping in and chatting, so it's been fun. And I'll definitely do another live stream on Thursday when the patch comes out. If there's significant stuff for the patch, I'll do a live stream and then I'll make a video afterwards. If there's a lot of good stuff to review, but yeah, I know the live stream's definitely like long form. We're just chilling most of the time, and I can't make a concise 10-minute live stream, unfortunately. But yeah, when it's a good format to have a straight up video, then I'll make a video for things that are more long lasting. But I'm really excited for Thursday for the next patch. Sim update 4 is on Thursday, so sorry if I'm repetitive, but yeah, it's gonna have. There's supposedly fixes for the Garmin avionics, for autopilot, and for live weather, and for ATC. So we'll see how all that goes on Thursday. 1951 in Brazil. 7. So you're 4 hours ahead of me then. It is 15:52 here. All right, we're down to 13,000, going down to 8,700. Oh man, this is going to be a challenging landing. It's a small grass strip, and I don't really know what to expect with the clouds. It looks pretty clear once we get under this cloud layer, so we'll see what happens. And then the airport we're flying to right here is at 6,700 feet in elevation. Oops, there we go. 6,700 feet. It's this one right here. 43 Charlie Oscar. And we need to pick up some cargo there, so 6,700 feet, but and they said expect runway 18. 1,600 foot grass strip. And then we'll see how this goes once we get down there. There's a little bit of weather today. We've been flying through this kind of stuff the whole time. It's pretty crazy. I wish it would save the camera settings. Like I really like to turn the rotation speed down here. Turn the autofocus on is pretty cool. Yes, that is the soup. Some of this soup looks scarier than other parts of the soup. Like that we just came through, that's pretty terrifying. All right, we're going in again. All right, I'm gonna turn on the weather again. Let's see if this is helpful at all. Vertical weather. Oh man, it's so heavy that it's got the magenta. It's got the magenta color instead of red. It's worse than heavy. It's avoid this at all costs magenta. And we're flying right through it.
132.5, SkyWest 3565.
This is fine. Everything's fine. Flying through a lightning storm, no problem. We definitely should have avoided this. Thankfully, it's a sim, so not too worried.
Delta Kilo India Papa contact Denver Center on 125.905.
All right, they're having us go to Denver Center.
125.905 Daher, Kilo India Papa. Denver Center Daher, November 21 Kilo India Papa is at 10,300 feet, descending.
This is pretty nuts.
8,700 feet. Daher, November 21 Kilo India, Papa Denver Center, continue as planned. Altimeter tree 0.00.
3000. So I hit B, updated the altimeter. 10,000 feet, turn the inertial separator on. Now that I've learned that. Though I'm guessing, should we have the inertial separator on whenever we're flying through clouds like this, or only when we're under 10,000? Because it does something to protect against like moisture getting into the engine too, right? If we're flying through rain clouds, thunderstorms. But I don't know if we want to sacrifice engine power. Oh man, going down. This is so cool. I love flying in the soup. So we're gonna level off here soon at 8,700. We'll silence that warning. We know it's on. So I'm ready on the throttle because we're about to level off at 87. But if we're still, it looks like we're still gonna be in the clouds here. Oh, you can have a flame out, so you don't want it on when you're higher. It is live weather. It's on live weather, but it's on all multiplayer. All right, so I'm putting our throttle back in. Yeah, if I chose to fly in this, you guys would be worried. All right, so how far away are we? Looks like we're gonna be out of the clouds at some point here. That's like 16, 17 miles away. We have 35 miles to go. So we could switch to next rad and zoom out. Okay, yeah, it looks like, so it's gonna clear up near our destination. Luckily, we're almost all the way through it. I tend to use the live weather always, just because when you choose a preset, it very much feels like a preset. The variety in the clouds and stuff you get with live weather is just really, really cool. So I tend to like always fly with live weather turned on. Yeah, mattering what plane you're flying though, it's not always an option. Or, you know, if you want to do VFR and there's a thunderstorm and you want to fly to a certain area, obviously you need to use a preset. But yeah, I really like using the live weather. This is just fine. Yeah, no problem at all. Just a little bit of ice. So we should be out of this in a few minutes.
P1050, you are train 9 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect vectors, ILS runway 7 approach.
P1050. Yeah, this is the TBM 930. It is. This is probably, I would bet this is the most popular non-airliner in Microsoft Flight Sim is the TBM. I know On Air Company is another one of these career mode add-ons, and they have a page that shows you all the stats of the most popular planes, and the TBM is up there. TBM, the Cessna Grand Caravan, people use those a lot just because, yeah, they're so fast, and the Grand Caravan especially carries a lot of cargo, so when you're running those cargo mission career mode type things, it's a really good one to fly.
Generic 54 Juliet traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at 8,600 feet down TBM 9. Report them in sight.
8,600 feet. Our altimeter must be off quite a bit.
P1050, your tree 6 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect vectors, ILS runway 7 approach.
Oh, you wish it had the Kodiak?
Dollar Kilo India Poppy traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 9,800 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Yeah, I guess basically you want like a more of a steam gauge-ish edition of the 930, right? So if you could get like the, what is it, the 870? What's Steve-O's plane? 890, 870? I forget what model his TBM is, but he's got a lot of like the steam gauge instruments without, instead of like, you know, doesn't he have the 530 and the 430? I forget his avionics, but yeah, I'm sure this is like the modern version of the Kodiak and the older TBMs. All right, we're kind of out and then going back in. And we are not that high off the ground. And our destination, oh, the 850, got it. So 6,700 is, so we're just about 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, or the airstrip elevation. Kodiak has 3 G1000s. Okay, so more like the Cessna, the Grand Caravan, at least in Microsoft Flight Sim, has 3 G1000s as well. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking, I want a, my girlfriend flies a Piper Cherokee Archer. She mostly trains in an Archer right now, and I'm hoping that somebody releases an Archer for Microsoft. I know there's 2 different arrows, but those are complex, and something like an Archer would be really cool. I'm sure they're coming. They're like, you know, Pipers are too popular. It would be like not having a Cessna. All right, maybe not quite as popular as a Cessna, but still. There's just several Pipers now, but they're all like twins or the Arrow. But it would be cool to have a, it'd be cool to have an Archer similar, or like a Warrior maybe. All right, so they're not giving us really any instructions now. We're supposed to fly. We're supposed to be landing at runway 18. All right, so I'm going to set our heading bug over to 18. And the airport's at 67, so I'm going to set this down to 8,200. It's kind of our traffic pattern altitude. I have no idea what to expect here. We're only 15 miles away. So this is a very small grass strip, so I'm a little worried. Probably have to overfly it once or twice to set up for it. And I have no idea what the terrain around it is like, really. It looks pretty flat on here, and we're already pretty low. So I don't think the terrain will be a big problem. It'll just be finding the strip. And they did tell us to expect visual for 18. It's a grass strip, so there's only going to be a visual, but we just need to see it. You can see a little bit of the ground from here.
Kilo India Papa Airport is at your 12 o'clock on 1 mile. Maintain present heading and altitude report runway in sight.
So I have the autopilot turned on, or the co-pilot's gonna say runway in sight.
I have the runway in
I have the runway in sight. Yeah, sure you do.
Kilo India Papa, you are 10 miles east of 4-3 Charlie Oscar. Turn right heading 255.
All right, they're giving us vectors, so we're gonna turn to 255.
Turn right heading 255. Tahir, Kilo, India Papa.
All right, heading mode on,
Charlie Oscar,
255.
Tahir, November, 21 Kilo, India Papa, 9 miles east, inbound visual runway 18.
All right, visual runway 18, but we're on 25, so it's going to be to our left.
India Papa is on final runway 18 to land.
So we're going to need to fly over, see where this thing is. I'm going to turn off the weather for now. Let's go to map mode and just zoom in, just for a reference. All right, and it's out here somewhere. Also going to turn on vertical speed mode. Get down to 8,200 feet. X-ray vision, yeah. The best co-pilot ever. All right, so we're looking for a very small grass strip. Man, the clouds are just like perfectly... We're just coming out of the clouds perfectly right here. So it might... Oh, it looks like it's that right there. I think that's it. That looks like a runway to me. And with the smart camera, it's just... yeah, it's like right there near that white building. So it's either that or this. I think it's right out here. All right, so I'm slowing down, taking the autopilot off. And the runway heading is 180, so I'm going to turn my heading bug over to 180. I would love to use the OBS mode, but it does not work in the TBM yet. It only works with the G1000.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Oh yeah, that's it right there. Imagine this during the night. No. Don't make me think about it. All right, 180. I think it's over in this, it's this area right over here. That's where it is. I think I just saw a light over there. Oh man, well, we're gonna have a 13 knot headwind, roughly, so that'll be nice. Yeah, that's it right out there. It's either right underneath us, or I assume it's this spot right over here in this more open field. Our speed's pretty good. We're at 88 knots. I mean, this is just going to be our runway right here. I don't think that was the actual runway, but oh no. It's definitely not the actual runway, but that worked, right? Yeah, that's totally fine. I think it's more over in this direction. Notice it has not welcomed us to the airport yet, so I think it's this part right over here. And it's super bumpy. Yeah, I guess this little building may be designated where it was. Is this it? Sometimes it's so hard to find these. Yeah, at nighttime we would be totally screwed. There's a house here. I mean, this looked like a pretty good field to land in. I think it's around these trees here to the left. Totally realistic. Yeah, they're hard to distinguish. Yeah, there's like a pretty big variety in what they look like too. Sometimes they're like very obvious, and other times they're just like completely invisible. This is fine. We're just gonna do a little off-roading. This is you know, this is realistic. I'm just really curious to find where it actually is now. Oh man. Can we even get through here? Let's see where it shows on the map here. Oh, it's more off to our right. Is it across the road? Maybe it's across the road. Get to drive to the corner store. I think it's right over here. It's across this street. Don't mind me, cars. Just go through me, it's fine. Oh, here we go. This is it over here. All right, it'll welcome us to the airport soon. Oh yeah, this must be the runway right here. Poor TBM. Good thing it's a rental. Is it gonna welcome me to the airport now? Yeah, we're like right on the dot now, so this must be the runway. Drive it right up to the house. Yeah, we're on about a 180 heading right now too, so that matches up. All right, we're here to pick up the cargo. Honk honk. All right, parking brake on. So it's still not welcoming us to the airport, so... Oh, it's because I didn't begin this leg of it, so that's why. All right, so we can begin this third one at the same time.
Listen up. I have an opportunity
Load in
for
all the
you.
stuff.
Crystal Lakes
Smoking
Airport
pipes,
is a
hell
privately owned
yeah.
airstrip in Colorado, surrounded by the Roosevelt National Forest
right.
natural beauty. Nearby
Oh, we did a
Crystal
lot.
Lakes
All
is a
right.
charming
So
and
now we
relaxed
have the
mountain
cargo
village
from
and
all three
recreational
of these
community.
airports,
The
and they're all
centerpiece of
going
Crystal
to
Lakes
Crystal
is a
Lakes right here.
6,900 square foot community center known as Base Camp. Weekly supply runs are needed to keep Base Camp and other small shops stocked up in town. Enjoy some tunes on the way in. And trust me, a little Phil Collins will make any trip that much better.
All right, so now we can finally go to our destination here. Back to Crystal Lakes. Okay, so we picked all that stuff up. So, you know, I knew this from the second leg, but now we, you know, for sure we know we can do multiple cargo trips at once. You can see all three of these are activated because we're doing kind of 3 missions at once. Now we'll go back to Crystal Lakes for the second time. All right, so that's loaded. So it's 100 miles to 25 Charlie Oscar. And let's see, if we look at the info, highest obstacle is 97. And we're going westbound, so we want to be even. So 10, 11, 12. So we probably want to be around 12,000 feet. So I'm going to dial in 12,000 feet on the autopilot. It's our planned altitude. Update the altimeter with B. And then I'm going to go down to flight plan, and I'm going to go ahead and change our origin here from 43CO. So I'm just going to program this in manually. Enter. And then hit our destination airport, which is 25CO. Crystal Lakes. Enter. All right, so we have our direct to flight plan in here. And there's a bunch of mountains, but this time we're coming from the south, so we're not going to hit that terrain until we're near the airport. There's an expiration time for the contracts. Does it go faster if you increase the sim rate? I don't know the answer to that. I haven't tested it. I do know you can use the sim rate, and it doesn't seem to penalize you or give you a warning or an error or anything like that. But I haven't checked to see if it increases the speed of the contract expiration. Would I suggest Skypark over FS Economy? There are missions everywhere in the world with Skypark. FS Economy, I haven't used it for about a year, but I really didn't find it intuitive. Skypark, it has this app. It just kind of works. It's really easy to use this. So for that reason, I like Skypark a lot. It's not free though. It's like 25 or 30 US dollars, just a one-time fee. But they do have missions everywhere. So like I'm just doing this base camp thing they introduced in their last update. So they introduced like these cool little like, they're kind of like featured missions, but you can scroll out and you can find flights anywhere in the world. I have to clear the filter, but it does have flights all over the world. And it doesn't only have cargo missions. It has a lot of like tour like ones. And bush trip. There's some like bush trip style ones. The one I was looking at last week, they have one called the Rum Tour that flies through like Cuba and Puerto Rico and down these islands here to kind of give you a tour of rum producing areas of the world. And they have those voiceover things, like you just heard that woman's voice come on and kind of introduce this Crystal Lakes area that we're flying to. So they give you like some history of these actual real world places and what they are and stuff like that. Like it's almost like a cool guided tour on some of these, but they also just have straight up cargo runs. You can choose any plane you want at any time right now. They do have, if you see these gold circles here, this represents how much of a relocation fee I would pay if I wanted to have a different origin airport. So if I wanted to fly, up here in like the Washington area or up in Canada, it would cost me $500 of my in-game money to relocate my pilot there instantly. So Skypark is more forgiving, but I feel like it's, On Air is the most hardcore of all of them, especially if you play on the Thunder server. Skypark is easier to hop in and play. And it has two game modes. It has one mode, which is this mode where it does track your money and it has fees for like transporting your pilot. And then they have like a more exploratory mode. So if you go to settings, you can change the gameplay mode here. So Endeavor is kind of the hardcore mode. And you can see down here, it says they're doing aircraft fleet management soon. And then they have this other game mode, Discovery. So you can just do whatever you want with no limitations. So you can just look at whatever contracts you want. It's pretty cool. And they have like illicit missions, kind of like Neofly does, where you're like doing running counterfeit cargo and stuff like that, like working for the illegal company or whatever, and they have karma and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think that I'm really impressed with Skypark, and they update it pretty regularly. So if you go here under software updates, like last Tuesday is where they introduced this mission that we're doing right now. And then A couple weeks back, they introduced this rum tasting one, so it's similar. They have like this history and they have a soundtrack you can play through Spotify. This was the update to introduce the fees that I was just talking about, where when you move your pilot, it'll cost a fee to move your pilot. And it shows those rings to show you how much of a fee you'll pay, mattering how far you move. Yeah, they're just improving it all the time. Like, here's another improvement that same day was the dice roll to just randomize. And then when you pick your mission, you can choose based on what type of plane you want to fly. They have helicopters too. And then these are the types of missions they have. So cargo, ferries, bush trips, tours, experiences. I think this one's considered an experience maybe. And then they have more filters based on, you know, how long you want to fly, how many legs, type of runway, variation in the topography or the terrain, that kind of stuff. But for this, I just put in that hashtag base camp to get this set of flights for this Crystal Lakes kind of campaign mode almost. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's really cool. I like that it's a one-time fee, like you support the devs, and at the same time, it's not a subscription like On Air Company. But with On Air Company, it's so hardcore. You know, you get the virtual airlines, you get your FBOs and all that stuff. Like, On Air Company is awesome. That's probably my most used, but I really like the simplicity of Skypark. And the interface is definitely a big plus. So yeah, I don't think any of them are bad. They're just different. I think NeoFly is really cool too. Again, I don't like the interface, but NeoFly is the only one that has like emergency and search and rescue missions, which is really cool. Oh, the Discord. I have not tried the Discord yet. I know that when you go to the home screen here, it has this Discord link here, but I haven't tried it yet. And I really like how it gives you airport information in here. It gives you the runways, the elevation. When you go to info, it gives you the highest obstacles, so you don't have to pull up your flight charts or anything, like your VFR charts, to figure out how high you need to fly en route. And then it shows you what type of plane it recommends, or if it recommends helicopter. So for this leg, it's recommending a piston. So I think it's because of the takeoff runway length of where we are. Only 1,600 feet, so this is going to be a bit sketchy taking off here. All right. I'm going to, let's see. All right, so let's take a look at the wind. So we have an 11 knot wind, which is a headwind right now, this direction. So we need a back taxi. We want to face 180 for our takeoff. No, this is only for Microsoft Flight Sim. On Air Company works for X-Plane, Microsoft, and Prepared, I think. This one is only for Microsoft Flight Sim. Kind of like how NeoFly. NeoFly is also only for Microsoft. All right, we're gonna get as much distance as we can up here. So let's go up this way and we'll turn around. So we have the favorable wind. Which airport we're at right now? This is, what is this? We're at 4-3 Charlie Oscar, and we're flying to 2-5 Charlie Oscar. 4-3 Charlie Oscar is this one. Look at those floating vehicles, sweet. All right, so we're just gonna start up here on this, near this road, because this is not recommended for turboprops, so we need all the runway we can get, and we're flying towards trees, so a little worried about being able to take off here. So we're gonna hold our brakes for this shore field takeoff. Flaps are set, trim is reset. I'm just using a button for my brakes, which is why my braking is really not the smoothest thing. All right, we'll see if this is enough runway length. Good luck, everyone. And also, your fuel and stuff is not managed by Skypark. That's a difference. It doesn't do your payload and your fuel yet. I don't know if they have plans to do that, but that's one downside is, yeah, there's no realistic payload management or fuel management. You just use whatever you want. All right, here we go. Good luck. I don't know if this is enough. This might not be enough runway. We're just gonna go for it and see what happens. 50 knots. 60 knots. 70 knots. Oh no! Totally realistic. That's why it said this is not feasible. All right, gears up. That's why it said that this is for piston and not for turboprop, for that runway length. Yeah, we would have nicked that satellite dish for sure.
Denver approach Daher November 21 Kilo India Papa is type Daher TBM 91 miles south of 4-3 Charlie Oscar. Request flight following.
No TV for them.
Daher November 21 Kilo
Sorry, sorry guys. No more no more ID channel. I did the Kodiak, yeah. I knew when I started this the TBM was gonna be a bad choice, like the Grand Caravan would have been a better choice. But I also wanted to fly faster, so I just went with the TBM. I risked it. Realistically, we would not be able to do that takeoff.
2736 Daher Kilo India Papa. Daher Kilo India Papa radar contact 3 miles southwest of 4-3 Charlie Oscar 9,000 feet. Altimeter 29.86.
All right, 2986.
Kilo India Papa. Denver approach Daher November 21 Kilo India Papa. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Daher November 21 Kilo India Papa Denver approach. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Cleared through Bravo airspace Daher Kilo India Papa.
All right, turn an autopilot on. Go to nav mode. All right. Finally be able to deliver all this cargo. All right, so we picked up all that stuff. So now we're just flying the last leg here. So we did these 3. This has been a trek from here up to here, over to here, now to Crystal Lakes. All right, we're going up to 12,000 feet. And we're just on a direct route here.
You are 18 miles south. Climb and maintain 9,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 35 right approach via XD-80 transition. Cleared to XD-80.
This is cool. I'm stoked for this. This is a journey right here. So Crystal Lakes. So we did land that first flight we did today was to Crystal Lakes. So it's a 4,000 foot-ish grass runway, 3,897 feet. Elevation 8440. I think last time we landed on runway 07. So it's at Red Feather Lakes in Colorado. So this is where this whole mission has been focused, is this Crystal Lakes area, resupplying their base camp there. All right, we're leveling off at 12,000. And I can turn inertial separator off. And we're gonna leave. Yeah, we're going through clouds, so I'm gonna leave the anti-ice stuff on. Because we did get icing on the way in, so probably get icing if we didn't have that on.
Generic 0 Tango Kilo, you are 16 miles south of Centennial. Contact Centennial Tower on 118.9er when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.9er, generic 0 Tango Kilo.
I didn't play Flight Sim X or Flight Sim 10, however you refer to it, but I know these skins or these liveries are from Flight 10 or from FSX. They're pretty cool. Kenmore Air Express. There are a few other ones too. I like the variety. It's really nice. I did add a few more liveries that I don't use, but I added a few for the A320 just so when it's parked I see a variety. I have a few of the real world ones installed, like the just some like I have like the EasyJet and like United and a few more, just a handful of those. What are the key lime airplanes? Is that one of the other liveries?
Contact Denver approach on 128.45.
All right, they're switching us over to Denver approach.
45 Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
So we could file our IFR flight plan. I guess realistically we would have done that already since we're in IMC.
Dare November 2, 1 Kilo India Papa Denver approach. Continue as planned. Altimeter 30.09.
All right, updated our altimeter by hitting B.
Denver approach, Doctor, November 2, 1 Kilo India Papa. Request clearance to
Yeah, so
transition
realistically
Bravo
we would
airspace.
have filed the IFR flight plan.
Dare November 2, 1 Kilo India Papa Denver approach. Cleared through the Bravo airspace.
And I just have the AI turned on, that's why it's automatically replying right here. Manage radio comms is turned on. What's interesting is it says retry with last IFR flight plan, but I changed the flight plan. I put in a new one, just a direct to route, right direct to Crystal Lakes. So I'm not sure why it is not giving us the option to file a new flight plan. No. Whoops. No, we're not landing. All right, I need to turn off manage radio comms. Sometimes when you choose a different frequency, it'll just assume you're landing. So I should have turned that off before I did that.
Altimeter 30.09 when 31187.
So we're gonna have to cancel that. I'll just acknowledge for now.
Left traffic, runway tree
This is one of the things that just takes a long time with ATC. You do the wrong thing.
Buckley Tower Dare Kilo
All right,
India
cancel
Papa,
landing
cancel
intention.
landing intention. Dollar Kilo India Papa, your cancellation is received.
Oh, that key lime jet. Oh yeah. Oh, was that in Centennial? I did watch that on Vast Aviation. I listened to the I listened to that ATC. Yeah, where the Cirrus hit it. That was a key lime jet. Was that a Cessna? I forget the type of aircraft that it hit, that the Cirrus ran into. That was insane that everybody survived. And when I listened to the ATC playback, it sounded like the pilot didn't realize that it like shaved off the back end of the plane, like it took the roof off. Because when he called in, he just said something like, we have a right engine failure, I think is what his call said. So I wonder if he didn't realize what happened there and he thought maybe the vibration was the engine failure. I don't really know the details, but I listened to that ATC playback and it was kind of crazy. All right, I'm gonna try this option, retry with last IFR flight plan.
Denver approach Dare November 2 1 Kilo India Papa 8 miles southeast of Jeffco, request IFR to 4 Tree Charlie Oscar, ready to copy.
IFR to 43 Charlie Oscar.
November 21 Kilo India Papa is
But that's not right. We're going to 25.
report is filed.
We're going to 25 Charlie Oscar, which is what's programmed in here. So that's weird.
Dare November 21 Kilo India Papa cleared to 43 Charlie Oscar Airport.
Let's try this. I'm gonna sync our heading mode, switch to heading mode right now. Yeah, this year has overshot the final. Yeah, I saw they were on parallel runways,
Radar contact
and the key lime one was going in. Yeah, and the Cirrus overshot it and just ran into him. It's pretty crazy. All right, acknowledge. They want us to go to 180.
145 climb and maintain flight level 180 Dare Kilo India Papa.
Altitude, change that up to 18,000.
Dollar Kilo India Papa, you are 37 miles northwest. Descend and maintain 8,700 feet. Expect vector
Maintain 87. All right. We're just gonna. I'm gonna acknowledge this for now, but then we're gonna ignore him.
India Papa, descend and maintain 8,700 feet.
We need to change our flight plan. It thinks we're going to a different airport, but we are not. We're going to 25 CO, so let me retry this. Direct to. Just gonna do direct to 25 Charlie Oscar. Charlie Oscar, hit enter. Activate direct to. Now our flight plan is just direct to 25 Charlie Oscar. And of course, we're changing frequencies. I'm gonna go back to nav mode because we're just direct. Good thing he had a shoot. No, yeah, he pulled the shoot. Okay, and we're going over to Denver Center, so I'm gonna contact them.
Denver Center, Dare November 21 Kilo.
Got a lot of ATC going on right now in the game.
11,900 feet descending 8,700 feet.
So we'll see what altitude they give us. And I need to refile the IFR to see if it'll give us the right destination airport this time. 3007, so I hit B to update that. All right, so now we can request IFR clearance. Instead of retry, we're getting request IFR clearance. So that should give us, yeah, that's giving us our correct destination. Yeah, that parachute saved, well, I don't know how badly damaged the instruments and stuff were, or the flight controls were, but it seems like maybe the parachute saved that guy's life. All right, read back the clearance, squawk 2736. It does that automatically for us. Down here in the nav radio, we can see 2736 right there. Oh no, the contract expired. No. One of the contracts expired because it expected us to be there already. Oh no, I hope the other ones don't expire. Oh no, next will be this one. Expires in 7 hours. Okay. All right, so they want us to climb and maintain flight level 180, but proceed on course.
Heading 325, proceed on course climb and maintain flight level 180 Dare Kilo India.
All right, flight level change mode 140. We'll go a little faster than 140 just because we're already at 200 knots.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors. Visual runway 7 approach.
Visual runway 7. I'm on US West server. And we're flying to this Crystal Lakes Airport, 25 Charlie Oscar. All right, so acknowledge the assigned approach, visual runway 7.
Altitude, expect vectors, visual runway 7 approach, Dare Kilo.
And we're climbing up to flight level 180. Inertial separator is off.
And maintain 12,000 feet.
All right, down to 12,000, never mind. So altitude holds. Now we'll switch down to 12,000. Because we're getting closer. Vertical speed mode. We'll go down at 1,000. Pull the throttle back.
Kilo India. Papa, please acknowledge.
And I'll hit 1 to acknowledge.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet, Dare Kilo India.
All right, I'm going to turn on the AI. Let our co-pilot handle the ATC again. All right, pulling back on the throttle again for the descent. So we're going down to 12,000. And then I'll zoom our map in here. So we landed here once earlier today, so...
Delta Kilo India Papa descend and maintain 13,000 feet.
Okay, so we're going to 13, not 12.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Delta Kilo India Papa.
Delta
Alright.
Kilo India Papa climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
All right, climbing to 14. This is the weird stuff. One of you guys was talking about this
Climb and
earlier. Just
maintain 14,000 feet.
sometimes just
Delta
how
Kilo
weird,
India Papa.
how weird the requests are from
Delta Kilo
ATC.
India Papa descend and
Oh my
maintain
God.
13,000 feet.
You gotta be kidding me. What do you want me to do? Go to 12, go to 13, go to 14, go to 13.
Delta Kilo India Papa.
This is like just testing my
Delta
autopilot.
Kilo India Papa descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
This is ridiculous.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
I feel like I'm
Kilo India
being
Papa.
drilled with the autopilot controls right now to see how fast I
Delta
can use
Kilo
them.
India Papa descend and maintain 13,000 feet.
This is so annoying.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Delta Kilo India
Oh
Papa.
my god. It's almost like it just keeps recalculating my altitude based on the terrain below, because we're coming up to some mountain, like some mountainous area right in front of us.
Delta Kilo India Papa descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
Oh god. Yes, 12,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet. Delta Kilo India Papa.
Stop trolling us, ATC. There's a key lime in front of us. Flying the same heading all the time and it still changes from even to odd numbers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like why is it giving us an odd number when we're heading westbound? It should only be in
Climb and
even
maintain
increments.
13,000 feet. Delta
It
Kilo
is
India
very
Papa.
weird. I'm just gonna stick it at 12,000 for now. Hope we don't run into a mountain. If we look here on the, I mean, we're getting close already. We look on the details, we can see highest obstacle 9,700. So we'll be fine at 12,000. It's just ATC is going crazy. I still have my landing lights and stuff on. I'm just gonna leave them on. Haven't really been managing my lights while we've been flying, but our landing lights are still on. It's fine. Looks like the oxygen is off. Doesn't really do anything as far as I know. I don't know, does it actually, I think it might actually do the pressurization. Yeah, the cabin pressure here is shown. And then oxygen PSI. I'm not actually sure if that's functional. I know you can turn the switch on. We don't need oxygen right now, but...
And maintain 14,000 feet.
14,000. Now that's a legit altitude, but we're just going
Climb
to
and
ignore.
maintain 14,000 feet. Delta Kilo India Papa.
All right, we're going a bit slow here. We're done descending, so I'm punching the throttle back in. Yeah, I hope. I know the patch.
India Papa climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
Yikes. The patch says it's the ATC
Climb
stuff
and
they're
maintain
supposedly
13,000
fixing on
feet.
Thursday's
Delta Kilo
patch
India Papa.
is phraseology. I don't know if there are bug fixes for things like what it's saying, but just how it says it. So we'll see what happens on Thursday's patch,
Climb
which is
and
sim
maintain
update number 4.
14,000 feet. Delta Kilo India Papa.
And I'm just gonna let the AI, I'm gonna let the co-pilot keep responding, otherwise it's just gonna keep saying it over and over again. That's kind of annoying, but yeah, we'll see if they fix anything this
Going to
week.
125
Fingers
decimal
crossed
niner,
that some of this
Kilo
stuff is
India Papa.
ironed out.
Denver Center, November 21 Kilo India Papa is climbing through 12,100 feet for 14,000 feet.
Dare November 21 Kilo India Papa Denver Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.09er.
3009er.
Papa climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
No, I will not.
Climb and
We'll
maintain
use what they said. We'll use
13,000 feet.
3009er.
Kilo India Papa.
When I hit B on the keyboard, it changes it to 06, but let's do what ATC says. Except for the altitudes, of course. Gotta ignore that. We got a 20 knot tailwind. Or it's a little bit out of the A little bit out of the west, but or left off our tail, but we'll take it. And they said to expect runway 07.
Air Kilo India Papa descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
Yes, 12,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet. Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
Air Kilo India Papa climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
Oh, 13,000. Let's check the weather and see if we'll be out of this
Climb and
soon.
maintain 13,000
Okay, yeah.
feet.
Looks like we'll be out of it just in time. Look at this, like, weather cell right here to the east of the airport, though, is gnarly.
Maintain 12,000 feet.
See how accurate it is?
Climb and maintain 12,000 feet. Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
And let's see, the runway elevation. Let's see if we go to to-dos.
Maintain 13,000 feet.
The elevation of the airport, 8,400, or of this
Climb
strip.
and maintain 13,000 feet. Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
So 84, add 1,500 to that. Gives us around 11,000? Yeah, so we had 1,500, or sorry, 10,000. So I'm gonna set this down to 10,000 for now. We have our radio altitude just kicked in. So we're 2,000 feet
Climb
above
and
the
maintain
ground.
12,000 feet. Doctor, Kilo India Papa.
It looks like we'll be out of the clouds soon. Got those pilot jams on in the background. It would be funny if you could control the music volume and stuff from the nav radios eventually. Like the pilot and co-pilot. Turn on the music. There's a recorder? What? I'm not sure what this recorder thing is, but that's interesting. Speaker recorder. Here we have music. Clicks. I don't know what clicks is. All right, we out of the clouds? Almost. All right, so they stopped yelling at us, so I think at this point we probably just fly the approach ourselves. I never really know when to transition over, so we have an IFR flight plan, but usually they'll vector you. The very last step for this when you're doing a untowered airport is they'll vector you just once at the end. So they'll tell you to make sure the airport is in sight, and then the co-pilot always says it's in sight, even if it's not. But then after that, we just make one heading adjustment to what they say, and that usually puts us on a pretty good course for it. So we should be turning to the left, though, because it's runway 07. And we're just about 10 miles away. So I'm going to zoom in a bit more here on the map. So it'll be on the right side of a small lake that's in front of us. It's like a series of these little lakes here, and then there's one more right next to the airport. And they're not talking to us, so I'm just going to start our descent. Vertical speed mode. And we are 8 miles out. So I'm gonna start slowing down. Oh man, the clouds have definitely moved in though, so this is yeah, they're yelling at us. This is gonna be sketchy. If these clouds are all the way down here, like, I actually don't think the runway shows up on the glass cockpit, so it might not even be possible to land, even if we're not doing it realistically and needing a visual, like. Okay, they want us to go down to 11. I have it going to
Descend
10,
and maintain 11,000 feet. Doher,
which puts us
kilo
around
India
traffic
Papa.
pattern altitude. I'll just slow that down a bit.
Airport is at your 12 o'clock 6 miles.
All right, they should give us a vector.
Maintain 10,000 feet.
All right, 10,000. And report runway in sight. It'll just report it's in sight even though it's not, but then they'll leave us alone. They'll probably vector us to the left here.
Air Kilo India Papa, you're 5 miles southeast of 25 Charlie Oscar. Turn left heading 325 descend and maintain 10,000
325. That's actually turning right.
Turn left heading
That's fine.
325 descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
Down to 10,000, so that's fine.
Kilo India Papa.
All right, so I'm just zooming this in really close.
Traffic Doher, November, 21
So we're gonna fly by and see if we can even see this thing.
Runway 7.
Yeah, these clouds are right over us, so right over the airport. So yeah, this is not great. Supposedly this cloud, if this is accurate right here, then this cloud, we should pop out of it right over here and then have a visual of the runway. We'll see how accurate this is. So the runway will be right in front of us, right underneath us, 1 mile away. So we're gonna fly over it. It's gonna sync us into heading mode now. All right, I guess it's in here somewhere. Is that it right below us? It's right down in there. It's like right below us. All right, so I'm gonna turn us to the right. We have this area. Maybe we can get through, come around here and come through this direction. Let's check the wind. 18 knots though. So we have an 18 knot tailwind. Either way, we're gonna have a crosswind. It said to do the 07 approach, which would be from the other side. Yikes. In either case, like, yeah, we would realistically just not land, but you know, we're in the sim, so we can break the rules, I guess. All right, so I'm putting our first notch of flaps down just to keep our speed low. And we're gonna go over to this area of clouds over here and then turn around and see if we can get in there. This is gonna be sketchy as hell. So the airport elevation, again, 8,400 feet. So I'm just gonna set as a reminder. I'm gonna set it to 8,400 on there, on the autopilot. I wish there was an OBS mode that you could use in the G3000. It's only in the G1000, so we don't have that option in this one. This is like it couldn't be too much worse. I mean, at least there's some gaps in the clouds, but this is not great. I don't think either runway heading is preferable just because we're gonna have a crosswind both directions, because the winds are coming out of the south and then our runway headings are it recommended 07, so that would be what, 25 would be the reciprocal. So in either case we're basically getting a crosswind. Because the wind is pretty much north. And both of our headings are east and west for the runways, so. I'm worried because there's terrain over there that we just passed by and I can't really see that, so. Because of the clouds, so this is this is so sketchy. This is a really bad idea. Realistically, we would just abandon. We would go to an alternate. We wouldn't land. Obviously. This is not good enough weather to land in. So it is somewhere over there. Is that it right there? All right, so we want to be, so its bearing is 205. We want around a 240 bearing to line us up with that runway. So I'm just watching that bearing. It's at 210 right now. No approaches for this airport. It's a small grass strip. Yep, gear's going down. I'm just gonna be all configured here before we make this turn. 220 bearing. We want a 240 bearing on a heading of roughly 240. Get that runway. Just worried about the altitude because there's some terrain over here and this is gonna be sketchy as hell. 223 bearing. 224. Forgot to turn the inertial separator on. Our speed is really low right now. There we go. All right, 230. Just watching that. 232. I'm gonna start turning, so we want to be 240-ish bearing and a 240 on our course to make sure we're lined up. So I'm gonna switch in 240 right now on the heading. So we should be roughly lined up, a little bit off. Yeah, that would be great if there was an ILS or any kind of vertical guidance RNAV approach. Oh man. All right, I'm descending slowly. I hope we come out of the clouds here. I don't know, this is super risky, but just gonna see if I can make it happen. 4 miles out. As soon as we get through this cloud, we should be lined up pretty well. The question is just if we can see the thing. It's gonna be crazy if you land this. Oh man, this is just, yeah, this is not good at all. I can't see anything. I think the clouds are just perfectly in our face right now. Where are we at? Our bearing 226. We're too far. I need to be south more. I can't see anything. I mean, is that it right there? No, I think it's like over this. Okay, it's over this crest right here. Gotta pick my flaps up a notch to get over this. Oh no. Oh, we're sinking so hard. Holy crap. Okay, it's right down here somewhere. Is this the strip right here? Oh no, it's like in front of us. This is a horrible idea. Okay, that's it right there. We're going around. Oh my god. So I think that's it right there behind us. This is impossible. This is the worst. The clouds are just moving in too. It's just harder and harder. The floor is lava. Oh man. This is really difficult. Can't see anything. If there was an OBS mode that was functional, this would be a much easier approach. Yeah, no nav aids. And if OBS worked, it would be a lot easier, but there's no OBS mode to help me with the runway heading. So I'm just trying to do it using the bearing right there. So our bearing is 053 now, so I can try the 070 approach. So let's turn I'm gonna pull our throttle back again. I'm gonna turn the heading indicator to 070 to try to get that. To try that opposite runway. Our gear is still down. I think it can be down until 170 knots or so. Okay, and we are 068, so we pretty much just want to do a 180. I mean, if we just get lucky with the cloud movement, we could probably land it. I just haven't been able to see it yet. And I was off a little bit. I was off like 20 degrees. So I want to be on a course and a bearing up there at the top of around 072 or 070. So if I can line both of those up, it should be doable. All right, so we're gonna turn all the way around to that heading bug, and I'm gonna watch my speed. We're a good 1,000 feet off the ground right now. Keep the turn going. I want to get around to 070. I need to keep an eye on the bearing, which is 078 right now, so we need to be south a little bit more. Yeah, the other contracts, yeah. That was the mistake of doing multiple contracts. All right, we're almost at the heading bug, and our bearing is 083, so we need to be south more. I want the bearing to be 070 and heading is 070. So we're gonna head south more to pull that bearing. I'm looking right here at this bearing. So that's the bearing to our destination. So that's dropping now. It's at it's at 83. 083, I want it to be 070 while I'm heading 070. And we're 7 miles out. All right, 080 on the bearing. Once it hits 070, we want to be heading 070. And watching the terrain at the same time. Gear is still down. I have 1 notch of flaps down. I think yaw damper is supposed to be off. All right, 076 on the bearing. Zero 73 on the bearing. Zero 71. All right, we're gonna turn to 070. Okay, we're a little bit to the right of it. We need to be a little more left. Great. Hello, clouds. All right, we're still 5 miles out. The only thing I have to go off of is the glass cockpit to see if we're gonna hit a mountain or not. We have our radio altitude thing down here too, so we're 800 feet up still. Okay, 4 miles out. Pretty much right on it. 069 on the bearing, 070 on the heading. So we should be pretty well lined up with the runway. If there's a mountain in front of us, we're dead. Put the next notch of flaps in to just get our speed really low. Zero 66, maybe more to the right. Where is it? I think it's right in front of us. Can't be that, right? That's... Oh, is this it right here? That looks more like a road to me. Oh no, it's to the left. Oh no. Sorry everybody, we're gonna land on your road right here. No, we're not. We can't do it, no. Oh my god, this is so hard. It's over here somewhere to the left. Where is it? It's right here. This is it right here. All right, let's just do our traffic pattern if we can. Yeah, that's it right back there, right behind us. Yikes, this is crazy. Yeah, all these clouds are such a pain in the ass. This is so hard. It's really cool how the clouds are moving though. I mean, they're moving fast enough where it's like a different approach every time. Let me turn that music down a little bit. It's getting a little distracting. And this like 15 knot crosswind isn't helping very much. It is just the worst with the clouds right now. I can't see anything. It's just perfect. There's the strip again right there. The clouds are just perfectly settled over it, so I can't see it. We're almost in stall speed too. Change to more stressful music. Yeah. Oh man. This is one of the hardest landings. I mean, we would just go to an alternate, like we wouldn't even try this, right? We would just leave. I should go to bed 1 a.m., but I'm thrilled to see how this is gonna end. Oh man, I'm sorry. This is taking so many attempts. This is not easy. The soundtrack from Airplane, yeah. I don't want the VOD to get muted. Or actually, they don't mute it on YouTube, right? I think it just it could get delisted though if there's like a copyright infringement detected or whatever. So that's the only annoying part about wanting to play music. So I'm just using some copyright free stuff. Unlimited fuel, yeah. I could just I could keep refueling if I need to. But thankfully we have no fuel warning yet. I'm still at like I think I'm in the yellow right now on the fuel. Could just edit the weather, but that would be cheating. This is crazy. I definitely think OBS mode would be helpful right now. That cloud, man. If that cloud would just go away. All right, let's try to get lined up again for the 2-4. I also wish I could just use the GPS to dial in a bearing for the route as well, but you can't do that either. You know, or use OBS mode, it just does not work. Only in the G1000. So I switched over, I put autopilot back on. I'm gonna try to get the 240 bearing going here. I mean, we're just totally at the mercy of the clouds. If the clouds don't move out of the way, it's very unlikely I can land. No VORs or nav aids. I haven't. There are some nav aids to the north. But as far as like lining up, like I know where it is on GPS, the waypoint of the airport. It's just about getting the heading right, and without a visual, it's just so hard. Like, even if I had an ILS or something, the clouds are like all the way down to ground level. So even with an approach like that, I wouldn't have a visual. This is hard mode right now, for sure. All right, I'm just swinging around here to the east, and then try to get that 240 bearing and try again, see what happens. Just waiting on the clouds. It looks like the clouds have actually moved over it. So that red right there on the next rad is right on top of it now. It was to the west before, so it's probably even worse. 306 on the bearing. Eight miles out. 301 on the bearing. So I'm gonna head northbound. Man, this is a difficult one. Use it to triangulate your position with the runway. Now it just depends on the weather. Yeah. If I set up the OBS mode, I mean, I'm basically doing a poor man's OBS right now, so I'm looking at the bearing and looking at my heading and course. So I want to run a course of 240 and the bearing to also read 240. So then I'll be lined up with the runway. So the bearing's 285 right now. And I mean, the 20 knot crosswind is not helping at all. That's going to be pushing me off. So I'm going to need to change my heading to be into the wind a little bit. All right, bearing is 267. .262. So we want a 240 bearing. So I'm going to go to 270 on the heading. 257 on bearing right now. I want a 240. It's not even completely a 240 heading. Could potentially be off by like 5 degrees, mattering the actual heading of the runway. But there's like a 5-degree variation, right? Because they round to the nearest 10 degrees. So we'll see what that does. Okay, bearing 250. So I'm gonna go to 240 right now. I'm gonna go to less than 240 because we have that nasty 17 knot crosswind. Push us off course. .249. Oh, the speed's way too low. So much going on right now. Okay, we're at 9,500 feet. I don't know if this is happening, guys. So it's right before the lake. Come on, clouds. Help me out here, clouds. Denver Evening News. Oh God. No, I hope not. This isn't it. Rip. No, we're dead. We're dead. GG. GG. No. No. We're dead. This does not count. What? We should hit the trees. I'm just forcing it down. All right. Well, rip. It thinks we're here, which is obviously BS. We're not. That was a crash, but I'll still unload this stuff. That's definitely a fail. That's just impossible with the clouds. Like there is no way to make that actual landing. I just forced it down because I've been trying way too long. Okay, so that one got canceled, right? And this one, does it actually let me drop this off? Oh yeah, it doesn't look like it lets me drop this one off, so that's weird. Yeah, you guys have been waiting way too long too, so sorry. That's just I mean, I think that I was close-ish. I think this is the actual grass field, maybe right here. But oof. Oh, that actually it actually hit a collision there with that tree or something. It's weird how some trees count, other trees do not. But yeah, is this the grass strip right here? It's hard to tell. I don't think it's here. It might. Oh, it's that right there, isn't it? Yeah, that must be it right there. So I basically landed, but I thought the camera was pointing this direction actually over here. But this looks like the grass strip right here. Yeah, this whole thing right here, parallel to that road. So I wasn't too far off, but I just couldn't see it. I kind of forced it down right over here instead of over here. And there's just so much, I mean, you can see the clouds are moving in right now again. That was pretty crazy. And it looks like with, so this is something that's weird. Let me clear these. What's weird is with the missions, so it shows this one is active. And we did the to-dos, we picked up the stuff, but it looks like when we picked up the other stuff, it kind of overrode it. See, like it's not letting me drop it off. Or maybe we're not close enough. I mean, the plane is dead, so I'm surprised it didn't just end the game actually, because I have it on realistic flight model and all that. So it could be because we're just not close enough. It let me drop off the other ones. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess I don't really know the answer, but I think I have to cancel these, unfortunately, because it's not letting me turn them in. But that was a test right there to see if you could do multiple contracts. It seems like it's probably best to just do one at a time, though, so yeah. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it. My voice is getting a little tired of talking, to be honest. And I tried the crazy landing and failed. So rip, feels bad. I will be back this week on Thursday. I'm gonna be working on an RNAV video. I'm just reading more about them to make sure that I can explain RNAV in general. But I'll definitely do some LPV approaches, which are the vertical precision, or sorry, the localizer performance with vertical precision RNAV approaches. So they're kind of ILS-like precision. So, I'm going to try to work on those for the next video. But besides that, if I don't have one of those out this week, I'll be back online on Thursday for the patch to review what we get with the Sim Update 4 patch that's on Thursday. So at the earliest, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Samuel, thanks for hanging out. Fly farther. Tiago, if you're still here, or Tiago, sorry. Samuel, you have a good evening too. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have fun flying, and yeah, we'll see you then. Peace.